Hey.
Shit, y'all.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So,
what's happening? So hungry for words?
well, I got an ad read for us.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Should I start with that?
Uh,
All right, everybody, as usual, make sure to smash it. What?
yeah. No, nothing,
Okay.
nothing.
Okay, cool. So today's episode of Borch Time is brought to you by Sister Maven's Abortion Debate School. Tired of engaging in discourse with pro-des Christo fashion? Oh, hang on a sec.
Are we coming on a delay to you or something?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just my connection, but you seem a little out of sync.
Me or
No, Jared. Birthday boy.
Yeah. I think Jared's hearing us like 10 seconds after we talk.
I think I
Hold on a
Quit
second.
and join again.
Before we do the ad read, I'll do an intro like the good channels do, like the real channels, the people, the funded channels. Here it is. Check
Don't
out.
forget we're a 501c3.
I love that skinny white dude doing the haka up there in the front.
It's always fun when they throw them in there.
Yeah. I've watched the blacks do that in the whatchamacallit, the rugby, and I genuinely feel intimidated watching them do it.
No, like, dude, when the Tongans and like the New Zealand team, like that, yeah, it's the
they look
Samoan
fucking
team, so
crazy.
it is genuinely, yeah, it gets.
But that right there, I don't feel it. I am not feeling it. All right, ad read.
Alrighty then.
There's definitely a delay.
Today's
What's
episode of
going on?
Porch Time is.
Yeah, you're hearing this 10 seconds late.
I don't know how to fix this
All right,
anyway.
hang on. Let me. I'll do the ad read in a minute. Let me.
Yeah, or do the ad read. We'll hold for 5 seconds and do the ad read.
Start
and
all
then
your
figure
shit
it out.
and rejoin. I guess I don't know.
Flip, don't say anything so that he can do the ad read without being thrown off.
Okay. Today's episode of Porch Time is brought to you by Sister Maven's Abortion Debate School. Tired of engaging in discourse with pro-death Christo-fascists? Do you long for a world of double standards where men should keep it in their pants, but women must be sexually liberated? Well, sign up for Sister Maven's Abortion Debate School. Here at Sister Maven's, we are well aware that, but a fetus is a person, is a pretty difficult philosophical issue to tackle. But worry not. With our state-of-the-art strawman technology, you'll be setting up men so straw they'll knock themselves down. Learn from the experts such classic arguments as, you just want to control women's bodies. You don't actually care about babies. Or how about, if you're against abortion, you have to fund the entire existence of every kid. Don't forget the tried and true, this woman I knew had an ectopic pregnancy and died very suddenly, and somehow it's my dad's fault. And of course, the classic feminist go-to, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, dad, I hate you, eat shit, you motherfucking pig fucker. Sign up today and receive bonus hair dye, septum piercing, and a box of our shittiest Moscato to prove how happily child-free you are. Hurry quick, this offer won't last long. Sign up now for the low, low price of your eternal soul.
Good times. Well, that pretty much recaps the Maven thing. What's the next on the agenda?
You forgot that. You disgust me, okay?
Yeah, no, also, yeah, you are worse than a rapist if you believe in a medical exception for abortion. Literally worse than a rapist if you are on the side of people who think that if a woman's going to die, she should be able to get an abortion.
I guess I should just pull that up first thing since it's mentioned so kind of in every one of our names. But
probably, because don't we need to let Searstone load up the slide projector? He promised us
we're doing that today.
He promised us the
he says he has it. He says he has it. I just don't. There's just other things to hit right now. But
yeah, I don't believe he has it. But anyway,
he says he does.
He's been saying that for months. That's why I'm saying I don't. That...
Well, now he's gonna pop up and call your bluff, or
I hope he does.
Call your
Someday,
bluff. Show the non-bluff.
If you'd ever call my bluff once, ever once, I would be so delighted.
Where's the? Let's see here. We got. Is this the? I gotta find the one where it says that he was a rapist. So yeah, Jared and Flip, me just a little bit, got into it with Maven again over on Mormon News Roundup, and it was mostly just in the comment section. But we got informed that Jared is worse than a rapist. Did you ever know what birthday is it? Like, how many years of your life did you make it not knowing that you were worse than a rapist?
Well,
33.
33. So, and we also could hear there from the amount of time that was waiting. He's got about a 10-second delay on that. So,
the other thing is that his birthday is August 8th, which is 8/8, which is 88, which is white supremacist double speak code for white supremacy.
Did I ever tell you about that? Did I ever tell you about that? I think on
you did.
There was an ex-Mormon page where they were like, does anybody have a parlor? And I was like, oh yeah, I've got one, and I posted it, and it was just like JER 88, and they're like, oh, okay, I see the dog whistling there, and I was like, what? I mean, I knew what they meant, but I was like, explain, and they're like, 88 is Heil Hitler, and I was like, okay, but it's also my birthday, so they're like, oh, likely excuse. Everything that I have is 88. Like, I shut the fuck up. I'm not gonna stop doing it because you're a retard.
Oh, you got me. My birthday's really April 20th.
So you're faking having, just to roll with this lie, you're faking us like it's your birthday today, just to make us still believe this ruse that you were trying to tell the truth all that time ago to those online people, so you could fake them out that you were actually Hail Hitlering.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot like how James Lindsay created the entire website Marxists.org, just so that we might go there and read what Marxists have to say for themselves about themselves. But
yeah,
we'll do that next week.
Hopefully, this is a link. Some people gave us the links of Jared being called an Analrapist.
I thought was very brave and vulnerable to talk about this. Talk about trying to gently as possible bathe this little baby, seeing how much it's suffering. That is not the case. And as he's,
that's just the argument for euthanasia, right? We'll get to that one later. Let me see if it's this other one here. Stop sharing. Come on, where's the screen that says share this tab instead?
In such cases, breathing is sometimes intentionally stopped.
Okay, let's talk about that. So we're trying to liken someone terminating a pregnancy to a fully born baby that is then intentionally abandoned and suffocated. Notice the analogy here. Notice that we're comparing these two things as remotely similar.
Yes.
For people who are pro-choice, it's birth is the key point here that we care about the most. Again, like I said before, it's not that we don't care about the unborn, it's that we don't care about them more than the human being that they are inside of. That is the human being, a fully developed human being, and they are not. After birth, they are. So to try to make that connection, that people who willing to get abortions are just as willing to murder kids, is not true. And in fact, being pro-life often means it's a guilt position. There are plenty of people who have children who are pro-life who are also child abusers. And that is very connected because honestly, it's coming from the same place. When you are pro-life, you do not care about the suffering that you are inflicting on another human being, even potentially their death, over the purpose that you think that they should serve. And that is what every abuse happens for the same reason, whether it's rape, whether it's domestic violence, you want to keep your spouse in line, or your children are being too noisy, you are causing pain and suffering deliberately for something that you get out of it. So there's one case, it's similar to Chad and Lori Daybell. I guess we could go there.
This is the case, right? She's still getting to where she says it, right?
Yeah,
but
she's almost there.
But this
she
is
keeps
actually
doing this thing though. Like, I mean, we keep bringing it up though, but she talks, and in the comments, both live and in the after it was posted, we have this oft-repeated claim. It's feminist dogma, and Maven's entire worldview is predicated on the article of faith that pregnancy is something that men do to women.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way that works, is that a man patriarchally decides to control the woman by making a pregnancy.
I'm sorry, did you think that feminism taught that women are moral agents of their own?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, yeah, because that's just one whole problem with all this. It's like, oh, pregnancy is just this thing that just happens. That it's not even that just happens. A man decides, and then the pregnancy happens. Like, it's completely wrong.
The number one part of feminism is women are not agentic.
Yeah.
Go feminism.
Women are objects. They're acted upon. There you go. Here she is doing it. I can imagine Searstone telling me that I don't understand feminism, and feminism doesn't say women are objects that are acted upon, and Maven doesn't say anything about how women are just being acted upon. Just, God damn it.
Evangelical couple that had several children, 5 of them, and you can see in their prison interrogation tapes talking about God, talking about these demonic cops going after them because of religion and trying to take away their parental rights when they starved their youngest baby. So
she really just did jump from, like, she went to like, what was the connection to Chad and Lori Daybell? Did I miss the segue?
Yeah, Flip. Pro-lifers, Chad, Lori Daybell, kill your baby. What don't you get?
She actually said they're connected. Like, she straight up said that this time. She's like, there are some pro-life people who say they're pro-life, and it's just a guilt thing. And I actually didn't catch this in real time, because my question to her was, wait, are those things...
now.
No. So I caught that she said there are some pro-life people who abuse their kids, or like child abusers and stuff. So it might be a guilt thing for them. I thought she was just saying that happens sometimes or whatever. And I was asking her if those two things are linked. I didn't catch it until just now, but she said, and those are connected. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. The fact that they are pro-life is connected to the fact that they beat their kids.
Maven connects pro-life and Chad and Lori Daybell the exact same way that Hitler connects Moses and syphilis. Like, literally. Like, that's the level of connection that he's making. The bad people made it happen. That's what she's doing. It's bonkers. She literally, like, and I've said forever, feminists think like Nazis. I think we're seeing this. Like, we can just imagine she's talking about Jews, literally. Like, if we were to go and, like, use AI and just change pro-life to Jew, like, somebody would just go, oh yeah, like, there, that's what Nazis sound like. Sure.
So that exact moment's still 3 minutes away. I swear that we had it like connected up there, but I could go right to it. But I mean, we could listen to the whole dang thing too. But here's the exact.
You're almost there.
Can we do the part where she brings up my ex-wife?
Yeah.
That is something you can just feel nothing about a woman suffering. It's just maybe you wouldn't rape somebody, Jared, but you are willing to do worse to them because of your views. So it's not really, you're not better. You're worse. I would say you're worse. The pain and torture that you inflict on somebody else, that is worse.
All right. Hey, can you go get Maven to testify to the torture? How many tortures did you force her through? How many forced births has Maven suffered because of you? Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting about the delay.
No, it's actually not that bad. Now it's kind of fixed, but you can go on.
No, it's better. I can hear it's a little bit better.
But like, like I just, remember like when those women would get up in testimony and meeting and cry, because they're so sad because they wanted to have a baby so badly and for whatever reason it just wasn't happening. And it's like, and
patriarchy.
they just needed Maven to take them into the other room and explain to them that like, no, it's torture and the baby's probably retarded, and like only an asshole would actually bring a retard into existence,
Yeah, if you met any Down syndrome people who seem to be happy with their life, huh?
Yeah.
And you don't
I've
want to
only
have to
met
deal
happy
with them.
retards. That's the great irony. It's the fucking 133 college graduates that are fucking miserable. Fucking retards are just cruising, man.
I cannot believe she straight face said that. I really can't.
I can because I've been talking to feminists for 25 years. Like,
I couldn't at first, but then I was like, oh yeah, it's Maven. I'm done. I'm not as perplexed by her as I used to be.
Maven really is just like because most people have that, like the breaks, like I just imagine, I always bring up the analogy, but I just imagine there was an awful lot of like normie Germans in the 1930s who were like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it seems weird that we lost the war. Maybe the Jews did it, and that's as far as it went for them. And then the ones was like, well, and then we're going to put them in the train and then they'll go all die. And there's only a handful of them like, oh, yeah. And Maven is on that level of like, no, put them on the train cars. Put them on the train cars, And I think a lot of other people, if you told them right from the beginning, we're going straight to train cars, they'd be like, no, hang on a second. But no, Maven is full blown. Like there's nothing in the feminist story that she doesn't buy,
Here's Jared on the screen. I don't think you're stupid. I just think a fetus is a person. And so much of her argument, you can just hear it right there, is that
no, she
only
said
the woman is a person.
She doesn't think you're stupid. She thinks you're worse than a rapist.
No. She was saying that like the pro-life stance is that women are stupid. Like that was one of the arguments she's making right there. That they think women are stupid. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think you're stupid. I think you're insane.
That nobody who believes that a fetus is a person can simultaneously, or even not even can. She says they do not care about women suffering, just flat out. Not even they have a diminished. They don't value it as much as they could. No, like literally dehumanizes them like they're monsters, like Nazis talk about Jews, like that they are literally inhuman. Like. None of us care at all about women suffering. Like, it's just such a retarded lie.
The nicest thing that she's ever said to me on this subject is, I believe that you think you're not doing this to control women's bodies sometimes, but if we get down to the root of it, you really these are all patriarchal tendencies.
What's with the Rosie the Riveter constant cosplay too? I mean, I feel like I should be cosplaying Andrew Tate or something like that.
Can you imagine how much if she actually did devote herself to welding, how wonderful life would get. Like if she just learned a craft and became an artist and put all her energy into that instead of this fucking bullshit.
Put time into the war machine like Rosie the Riveter did.
Yeah, exactly.
Make some bombs. Make some bombs. Make some planes.
Hey, lady, they're taking anybody in Ukraine these days.
Again, I don't care how much you want to think a fetus is a person. The issue here is that you think they're a person more than the actual person that is.
There's so much mind reading, David.
I know. I always hate this because I'm like, no, it's actually already illegal to kill the woman. So if it were legal to kill the woman, I'd be like, no, that's fucked. Okay. Like, I'm telling you that what I tell pro-choicers how to argue with me. I actually tell them. I'm like, look, what you have to do is you either have to convince me that a fetus is not a person, and that's a real big philosophical thing, or you have to convince me that it is less enough of a person that it's actually okay to kill it in this instance. All right. And they never do it because it's difficult. And so I told her, I was like, they always jump to this, that, well, you think she's more, that the fetus is more of a person than the woman. You care about the fetus's right more than the woman's rights. No, it's already illegal to kill women. Like, oh, you care about the fetus more than born babies. No, it's already illegal to kill born babies. Why would I, like, we're talking about death here, and so I'm telling you how to argue with me, and you just never do it, because you would rather pretend that what I want to do is control you and subjugate you and turn you into, I don't know how this goes from like, don't have an abortion to you are now a birthing factory and you're forced to carry babies. Like, the jump from pro-life politics to Handmaid's Tale is massive, and they act like it's the very next step in logic.
No, but okay, I think it really is a testament to just how much of an extremist she is. Is that because I've made it clear to her when we talked on this show and then in DMs, like, I made it clear, like, my position, the thing I advocate for, the thing that if a referendum came up in Utah that I would vote for, I want some kind of legal protection for women to get abortions. I believe that I like the whole, the classic 3 exceptions, whatever, rape, incest, medical danger. I think those should be preserved at all times as a medical choice. And then, like, you know, some number of weeks, some kind of European model that, like, you know, I might find it objectionable. I might wish it didn't happen, but for all kinds of pragmatic reasons, I think that we're better off that if a woman wants an abortion, she can get one. Like, women, they need to have access to Plan B, like, you know, like, and also, like, this whole thing, like, you know, women shouldn't be shamed for seeking an abortion. No, that's right. Women should not be shamed for seeking an abortion. I agree with that. It's totally okay to shame people for making terrible choices that lead to dangerous outcomes. It's okay to shame people for, you know, like, for example, it's not okay to shame somebody because they ended up in the hospital with a broken neck. It's okay to shame them for drinking and driving and rolling their car into a school bus, right? Like, these are the things that she doesn't get. So anyway, I got off my track, but like, the whole point is, like, I am 99.9% on her side when it comes to the actual nuts and bolts of what we're talking about. Should abortion be a legal thing? Should a woman have a legal access to abortion in America? And I'm like with her all the way up to the part where, like, and I've asked her in person, I've asked her on DMs, I've asked her in the comments, is there any compromise? Is there any compromise at all? Like, what is the framework that you can get behind? And she will not answer that. And that's the point. And that is because she is a true extremist, like an actual radical, you know, like, there is no limiting principle, as it were.
Let me make a little point about that too. Something that we've watched that is not an aberration of the ex-Mormon world. Flip was there when Mormon expression was getting off the ground. He was at Sunstone. He's been around these places and talked to people and been invited on podcasts and that sort of thing when the subject was just general ex-Mormonism, right? We were going to cover things like, hey, let's talk Mountain Meadows Massacre, or hey, I don't even remember. You could probably remember some of the specific subjects you were on, Flip. However, Flip just expressed right there some political moderation. He had a moderation that is absolutely not on any sort of extreme on that sort of point. But Flip's political opinion is not invited on any sort of ex-Mormon podcast, anywhere, any way, any shape, any form. It is the way, and he is considered the naughty baddie, naughty pants.
Whereas Maven
is extreme. She goes on these things and says extreme things, and she has been given the red carpet. The red carpet to be as political as she wants to be on virtually every major podcast. John Larson
He smeared me, and I corrected them in real time, and they refused to acknowledge it. Like, yeah, like, no, there's not a single dirty trick she hasn't pulled. On top of being a radical,
it's not just her.
Retarded claims.
There's an issue that in the even if people have extremist political views, I'm fine with them spouting them. It's just let some other people spout theirs. Or you can stick to the subjects. I mean, Jared had a kind of a long thing in one of those ex-Mormon things this week where he was making fun of somebody for bringing in tangential political issues constantly into the ex-Mormon space and saying this is still related to Mormonism. So he went on a rampage doing that like 15 different times with different posts of things that are very, very loosely related to Mormonism, but just said, LOL, this is related to Mormonism.
It was the trans stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
well, the other person was a trans.
Oh my God, that was so annoying. Yeah. Well, she kept bringing up trans stuff, and I'm like, most of the people are like, what's this got to do with Mormonism? Because it's not like my dad transitioned and was excommunicated. It's stuff like, here's how to use neo pronouns and shit. I'm not even kidding. She had she had a poster of how to use neo pronouns and shit like that. Nothing to do with Mormonism. And she just kept saying, oh, the mods told me it's related. And I was like, okay, then. And so I posted about energy healing, and I said this is related to Mormonism because the Mormon church came out against energy healing. Then I posted about how the shots cause autism, and I said they definitely do, and I have irrefutable proof, parentheses, this is related to Mormonism because the Mormon church tyrannically forced me to get vaccines before I went on my mission. And it was just a bunch of shit like that, and people were like, what the hell's happening? And finally, the mods got enough complaints that they're like, listen, you have to stop. Like, you have to stop posting about trans shit. Like, if it's related to Mormonism, but you're just posting propaganda.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just kind of one of the general points that people with certain political leanings get invited onto everything. And you want to know the honest truth? Fine. It's just then you ask John DeLynn, would you maybe have possibly a conservative voice? Oh, someday, somehow, somewhere, we might super duper maybe possibly have a conversation. But we would have to know certainly beforehand that it will be respectfully on our side on most things. Yeah. Or you can knock the shit off. Like, I'd be fine if you just went the other way and knocked the shit off, and stop pretending like you're down stop putting on Larson on there for his political rants. Stop putting Maven on there for her extremist activism. Maven, you are an extremist. Your activism is extremist. These two are the moderates. Come on.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I mean, because like part of what bugs me about this is like, because she sees it's like, oh, I'm on this mission, blah 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 blah. Like, now, I'm not stupid enough to make it my mission. It's just to think that I believe, but like, I believe that it is the extremists that have stood in the way of a reasonable abortion law in America since Roe. And some of those extremists are on the right. Some of them are Christians. Yep. And I got my fights with them. Ironically, they'll listen to me, are way nicer than the left are. But no, Maven, you and your feminist cronies are also extremists. And you are every bit as much of a problem, if not more, just because the feminist side of it has so much more weight and funding and organization. I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like they talk about the Republicans. The Republican Party is nowhere near as solid or unified on abortion as the Democrats are. Come on. Do you think there's any moderate Democrat views on abortion? Whereas Republicans are by and large willing to compromise. And we know that because they have for 50 fucking years.
No. Let's hear more of what she's longhousing Garrett about here.
Growing them. And you give personhood to the fetus by taking it from the person whose uterus they are in. That is the issue here. And I don't believe, again, I'm going to bring in the hypocrisy because I believe, Jared, that you love your wife very much. And I think if her life was in danger, you would want her to have an abortion, a safe one, to keep her. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong because a lot of men find women to be quite replaceable.
Men often opt out of parenthood. LOL. Well, they try to, but they're
legally pursued.
They legally get pursued.
You have at least one son with her already. You can always marry another woman who doesn't die in childbirth. But I think, when it comes to women that you love and care about, then all of a sudden you're willing to flip it and be pro-choice, and you're caring more.
Can we talk real quick about the comment on there? Men often opt out of parenthood. Oh, really? What's a deadbeat? What's that word mean? What's the word that everybody knows and uses for a woman who doesn't want to take care of her family or children? What? Oh, there's not a word for that, is there? But we know what deadbeat is. That's interesting.
I like the juxtaposition of that was going on in the comment thread too, that all these people were, one of their insults for you, Flip, was that you were an incel.
Yeah.
Whereas what is Maven? Like Maven is a femcel. You are a femcel, you know? But that you don't like scour and go, yeah, femcel.
But also the whole thing, like, men opt out of parenthood. Okay, can a man who owes child support work freely without having the majority of his money taken away for? I mean, he wasn't ready to have a baby. Why should he have someone control his body to go work for some baby he never even asked for? You know, I mean, some woman decides to have sex with him, and now he's stuck with this. Like, and this is like just how bonkers and again flat Earth their world is, because like. Yeah, men opt out of parenthood and they are shamed for it.
You get garnished for it. I put in
like,
those garnishments.
Now, I know it's not all of them, and I know a lot of men get away with it, but many men are in jail for it. There are no women in jail for lying to their sexual partners about birth control because it's not against the law. There's not even a law against it. Just like there isn't a law against a young woman lying to her boyfriend and then going out and getting drunk at a club and then hooking up with and having sex with a man and lying to him about her birth control, you know, and then getting like just, oh my God. It really is just insane, like the world they live in. Because like, and again, like just the astounding hypocrisy of like, because it's amazing because, you know, every time I ask a feminist, every time I raise the question, is there any way to prevent pregnancy at all? And they always go like, yeah, men can keep it in their pants. Like, well, that's funny because that's all the Christians say.
Well, that goes back to the moral. That goes back to the
pro-life message to men is if you don't want to deal with the consequences, then keep it in your pants. Okay, so how about for women? Oh, wait. Oh, no, we can't broach that topic. We can't even raise the idea that, hey, maybe women can make choices that might or might not lead to a pregnancy they don't want to have. Oh, what about slipping a partner Plan B pill? Is that be a murder? If you gave your pregnant wife Plan B and she didn't know it, would that be a murder, Maven? I really wonder.
It could be like an illegal,
very, very
drugging.
shitty. No, but that goes back to the whole feminists think that women aren't moral agents thing, because a lot in the chat they kept talking about that it was a Mormon woman or ex-Mormon woman, whatever, who wrote that big long essay, and I think she turned it into a book where she talks about how every single pregnancy is caused by a man's ejaculate, and she's putting all of the onus like on men. Like if men didn't come inside women, they would never get pregnant. And I'm like, you're absolutely right, you are. So men should definitely, if they don't want to get a woman pregnant, they should keep it in their pants. But I have this weird thing in my head where I view women as moral agents, unlike feminists. Like I think you guys are responsible enough to make your own choices. And so I think you could also not have sex if you don't want to get pregnant. That's kind of, I don't know how you don't see this as a two-way street. And that essay is so nakedly like, women are too stupid to be able to make these decisions on their own. Like, this is all on men.
Yeah.
About the person who normally you're just seeing as a vessel to another person. That's the issue here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she did so much different, like kind of straw manning of claiming to know know the minds and the brains and the intentions of the men. And only men. I mean, I don't know if she ever even mentioned that women, tons of women are pro-life in this world.
Oh, yeah. Well, she thought she got me right there. She thought it was this big gotcha because she asked me that question. Like, I bet if your wife was dying, you would be fine with her getting an abortion. And in my head, I'm like, I would find it tragic. It's my kid dying. I'm going to be depressed. But I'd say, yeah, I think legally, then I would definitely allow for that. And it'd be a necessary tragedy. And she said, like, oh, see, there's the hypocrisy right there, because it's when it's someone that you love, you can do it, like she can do it. It's like, no, it's not about that. You're taking the wrong side of this. It's not about it being the person I love. It's the life or death situation. That's my standard for all abortions. If the woman's going to die, obviously, if it's an ectopic pregnancy, obviously get it out of there. That's and I don't know anyone who opposes that. You're arguing against nobody except maybe like the Westboro Baptist Church. I don't know.
Yeah. Here it is, Flip. Flip put on the screen. Nobody anywhere is, other than feminists lying about it. Women's suffering doesn't matter.
Saying. I didn't say saying. No one anybody is saying, but anyway.
Women's suffering I understood it. Women's suffering doesn't matter. This is a persecution complex based on a sexist conspiracy theory.
They would be treated. I don't know. There's just a disconnect in reality. And so for people like Flip, I think Flip has made it pretty clear that he's a misogynist. So his ignorance, I think, is willful. It's willful. I can't help you. And you can't help it when people are misogynistic. So he claims to be on the left. He claims to be.
We can't help it when people are misandrists.
Yeah, I can't help it.
You are a misandrist.
Like, does women's suffering matter, guys?
Yes.
Oh, audience comments. Comments. Does women's suffering matter? Comments.
Jared only thinks his wife's.
Seer
it's only my wife's suffering that matters to me.
I want to make it clear that Seer doesn't have to answer the question, does women's suffering matter? Because I know he doesn't like it when he knows it's going to be like this. No, like, this is absolutely bonkers. And her answer is to say, I can't be helped. I'm just a misogynist. Because no. Women's, like, the other thing is, like, just the absolute reversal of reality here. Like, that in every fucking way, on a social level, female suffering is so much a bigger deal. Like, possibly, one of the
what's the most researched types of cancer?
Yeah. No, but for me, one of the most, like, unbelievably glaring examples is the Chibok girls from about 10 years ago. When in Nigerian village, when Islamists kidnapped like 250 young girls from a school, and it filled international news for weeks. And it's still in the news, especially the part where some of the girls, when they found them, they're like, no, we like our Muslim husbands and we're staying with the Islamists. Okay. But no, but like the other thing is, like, and I remember, like, and you can look it up. I can't remember what it was, but one of those, big journalistic magazines had this whole paper that, like, oh, by the way, in the last 5 years or something, 40,000 Nigerian teenagers were missing in those areas, killed or kidnapped. 40,000 boys. Now, the world was on fire for 250 girls. International, UN, all kinds of help, spy satellites, all this crap. To this day, I doubt that Maven knows that teenagers are kidnapped and murdered by Islamists anywhere in Nigeria today.
We just know it biologically. We've gone over it before, but men, there are a few men at the top. That's the patriarchy that you're talking about or whatever. And most other men, 99% of other men are cannon fodder. Ultimately, they aren't the things that you paint them out to be. But the women, on average, in our gynocentric societies are more valuable or treated as more valuable than men just for existing, whereas men have to do or be something.
Did you love those? Like, has she ever seen those videos where you ask, like, the red pill dudes ask a woman, so what is it that you bring to the table? And they're fucking assholes for it. Like, they're. What are you talking about? I bring me to the table. Like, it just never occurred to them that, like, they should add something to a relationship. And again, that's just like you were saying with men. That's not like your representation of all women, obviously, but it's absurd.
And then I love that other thing that he uses where he puts, like, the ghost over, like, the top 80% of men and realizes these aren't people. To you, these aren't people. Like, only like the top 5% of men are who you are spazzing and freaking out about, which men are also spazzing and freaking out about them too. That's who we're talking about in politics. That's who we're talking about in business. That's who we're talking about in sports.
like men have a disparate tax burden. Men pay most of the taxes, and yet women benefit disproportionately from public spending. How the fuck did that happen, Maven? How the fuck does it happen that men earn all the money and yet women get all the services?
Patriarchy's bad for everyone.
Oh, that's right.
And now women are becoming most of the college graduates, and we still got to double down on saving the women. We need to, we need a Longhouse den mother to be hired as the top person in the country, because we need more women in college, even though they're already winning.
Abortion rights. He certainly has a lot to say against it, but whatever. His wife left him, and he's having a real hard time with that. But
you guys heard what I had to say against abortion rights. You guys all heard what I had to say about it. If it was up to me, I would guarantee abortion.
I heard what
rights.
you
right.
So Maven and Divas.
Maven knows that. Maven knows that. Maven, because I said it to her face, and apparently it took her aback, and so she messaged me privately and said, "Just to be clear, did I hear you say that you were for abortion rights?" You know. And I laid it out just like I did again. So Maven just now consciously lied about me being mostly against abortion. No, I'm against your extremist, conspiratorial, hateful, unproductive, counterproductive bullshit.
Yeah, but so ultimately you had this like whole podcast that you were gonna take on all oncomers, but never got to like the call and answer section, and then you first watched like a Mormon video.
I think that I think that Divas, I think he knew that like he would either have to have me on and deal with me live, or face the embarrassment, or people. Yeah, just that. I think he didn't have anybody on because he didn't want to deal with me. I'm pretty sure.
I think he kind of ran out of time because Maven went on
a
lot of really long rants. He actually did. He actually did keep telling her, okay, I know you got a lot to say about this, but we gotta move on.
Yeah, I guess
that's the other funny part about this. If you want to watch this full video, it's really my favorite part of the whole thing is watching. It's Dives and Maven watching Dives review this movie. So old Dives is saying, like, past Dives is making jokes, and current Dives is laughing his ass off at the jokes.
Yeah, no, but like I don't know. The Divas was so nakedly tabloid level dishonest with how he ran that whole thing. Like he was picking comments, like, and I know he was reading the comments, and I know I even tagged him on saying stuff like, "Hey, I didn't say that. Please correct."
They had a moment where Flip was talking back and forth with somebody else, and the other person said something about mental abortion, and Flip said, "Mental abortion, what?" And they said, "Oh no, not mental abortion, mental rape." And then you said mental rape, what? And they said marital rape. Oh, marital rape. What about marital rape? And then they picked out that what about marital rape?
Like it was like fucking
what's the problem with marital rape?
And like literally it was just somebody typo, like somebody was obviously on their phone and put in mental rape, and I just literally straight confusion.
Yeah, and then if you read it, you could see you were talking about what's an issue, what's one of the things. Oh, no, there's marital rape. Okay, well, what about marital rape? Tell me.
If you watch the whole thing,
that as you were downplaying marital rape, and they got you on the disgustingness.
Well, by that point, they were just naming bad.
They were just naming bad.
By that point, they were just naming the bad things that happen to women. Just the bad things that happen to women. They're just like, oh, this bad thing happens to women. This bad thing, and they just they just think that they all link back to abortion. We're like, wait a minute, what are we talking about at this point?
Do you have the highlight of Risto's masterful troll?
I'll pull them up.
God,
I'll pull up the pictures. But anyway, what I'm saying is they're pointing out in that Mormon video that everything was ad hominem, strawman, and argument from fear and argument from guilt.
Oh yeah. No,
and like guess what? Like Divas, like you had her sitting like all that Maven was doing was the same. She being disgusted. Maven being disgusted is an argument. Yeah. It's an argument. Like she keeps putting it out there like that's some sort of. It's not an argument. Like I don't care if Maven's disgusted or if a Mormon's disgusted on the other side. Like put out an argument.
That's just another way that Divas is just so nakedly biased. Is that because in the comments afterward, you know, somebody said, some lady, some feminist said some stupid thing about how like you know, most children of abusers are abusive themselves. So like one of these like retard arguments, like, so we're better off to kill them. So I just point out, like, you know, the vast majority of abuse victims are also abusers. You know, because this is a fact. This is a thing that normal people just understand intuitively, that almost all abuse is bidirectional to some degree, at least, you know. But and he immediately goes, what's your evidence for that? Anything that can be stated without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. It's like, oh, really? Oh, really? I dare you to go back over this fucking video, Divas, and stop after every time Maven makes some fucking claim and say, what's your evidence for that? You fucking dipshit. Like, it's just such bullshit. And then he's like, and he kept like fucking with me. I'm like, dude, you haven't answered like 80 questions that I've asked that you've just fucking dodged. He's like, blah, 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 you're a coward, all this stuff. So then I linked him some shit. Here it is. Here is the fucking evidence that supports exactly what I'm talking about. Fucking crickets. Like, he's such a coward.
Well, I mean, it's tough when you have Maven there on the show with you and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, dudes, you guys put out there that the idea was to have like a knockdown, blow them out. And I mean, I guess we're ready for knockdown, blow them outs if other people are ready for them. But I mean, we always get a bit dickish in the process.
I don't
so
know
here's
that red one.
Here's Reese, those 4D chess. They started playing on them. He started like putting up posts, and they posted them up, maybe thinking Risto was on their side. And I think he kind of like bore out some of the anti-natalist tendencies that were coming out of there, because by the end of this whole podcast, Maven started getting to arguments about the pragmatism. And one of the funniest old arguments against people for this is going and saying to them, hey, boy, oh boy, the crime in Black communities sure went down after abortion went up. You know, and that's one of the ways that you go and check to see that you guys are monstrous. You know, that's the other side of you that's pointing that out to you, is pointing out something monstrous that you think it justifies. Like that pragmatic answer to things, that like you're relieving the world of things like Down syndrome, or you're relieving the world of things like cleft palates. People are aborting for cleft palates. My grandpa had a cleft palate. Like the people are coming up with whatever sort of like random excuse. Or nowadays that you get into that whole transhumanist world of stuff, and you have these different gay people paying women to do stuff. There's real situations coming up where they're pressuring women to have abortions of the kids for stuff they're finding out about them in the womb, because they were paying that woman for the kid, and now they're pressuring them to abort the kid because it's not coming out exactly designer like they want.
I'd like to know. I've had this happen a couple times where I've been able to ask the feminist things like, okay, well, so I really want I want a boy. My wife's, we're trying to get pregnant. I want a boy. So what I'm going to do is, if we find out it's a girl, obviously I'm just going to abort her. And like, they always cringe at that. Anytime like sex selective abortion, most people cringe at. Most people are like, oh, that's kind of fucked, man. But especially if it's like toward male children, you know, like if you're saying, I don't know, it's, and then you have to ask them, why are you cringing? You know, like why does that bother you? And that was Dives the whole time. He's pointing out, like, his big thing was like, oh, the church is really punting on this one. They're trying to, they're not showing the stages of a kid's life. They're just showing an egg, and then all of a sudden a grown person. And you want to know why? It's because if you look at this zygote, it doesn't look like a person, does it? And I'm like, do you not, like, do you think that pro-life people just kind of, they think that as soon as conception happens, there's like a full person, but really, really fucking tiny or something? Like, well, it doesn't look like a person, so yeah, kill it, I guess. I don't think it's a person anymore.
There's also a flip into that, because they start arguing for pragmatically what's better for society. And I think it's still not seeing the forest through the trees, because the pragmatics of that are still the society that tries to go for birth and pushes for birth and shames for birth, wants birth, pushes for it, is the society that is going to thrive. You think you have all these future technocratic ideas of making it better because you're downsizing the possible single mothers because I don't know, whatever, You're lowering the crime. You're lowering the rates of different. I promise you that society dies. That society dies, and the society says birth, no matter what, lives. I promise you the pragmatism's wrong with that. I promise you it is. All right, so Risto gets them to post. Special needs children are a major burden on society's Risto. Men pressuring women into abortion is a big problem.
Yep.
So like, that's just kind of like playing back on them because they're gonna suddenly be like, "How dare you?" I'm always open to polite, thoughtful dialogue. Let's see. Oh, that's her saying, "I am always open to polite, thoughtful dialogue." Special needs children are a major burden to society and families. Here it is. Society needs to be honest about how much of a burden kids are.
Oh damn it! I got distracted by work bullshit, and I missed.
Pregnancy is a significant interruption to school and career.
I only knew about the one about the retards. I didn't know he had a bunch.
Oh, he had a ton of them.
Dude, Risto, like, yeah, he's like, I'm glad we have.
No, this is great. This is great.
They only show those pictures of fetuses to attempt to humanize them.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Risto, you are working on a different level there.
Like I only noticed the one. I didn't realize there were so many.
Restricting abortion disproportionately affects Black and brown communities.
Oh my god.
There is a reason that shaken baby syndrome is so common. Oh my gosh.
Risto does know how to reverse Borat. No, Risto understands it, but that's because Risto understands the position that he's satirizing. He knows it very well because despite not agreeing with it, Risto is not a disingenuous hack. And so he's made sure he knows his shit before he goes fucking with pro-choicers. Like, the reason your reverse Borat shit didn't land is because you have no idea what you're satirizing. You don't understand our position. So you think you're making fun of something, but we don't recognize it. I don't recognize it because I have no idea what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. That's why Risto's satire works wonderfully. And yours just makes
I brought this one up this week because the Onion posted this, and the Onion's just been terrible for years. The Onion posts, terrified conservative planning to move to 1930s Austria if Trump loses, and it's so plainly just unaware of it's satirizing something if your deluded sense of reality was real, and I don't know. Let's try to imagine you were doing the Onion's version of what Risto was doing. Like, what could they trick us into posting about women that we accidentally like stick up there, thinking that they're on our side? Women should know their place or something like that, and then we would post that up. You think we wouldn't recognize that?
If they said something like women shouldn't be allowed to vote, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's put that up.
Yeah. Like, could they do something subtle enough that we just wouldn't get it and we'd poke it up there? You know, I bet you we would see right through it in a second. You know,
dude, Will says that he actually understands their position very well, but it's just from an aerial view. It's the view from Pluto, except you're looking in the wrong way and you're looking through a Viewmaster. And you're clicking through those fucking 3D giraffes and animals and shit. Like, it's just astounding that you keep trying to play this game and you keep coming up with nothing.
I think Maven has better arguments for her position herself. She just didn't bring them out that night. Like, that night she was just particularly...
those were god awful.
I've heard her argue better for those types of things. She was in a mood of, let's just mirror this Mormon propaganda video entirely.
I don't know what Marxism is because of math, guys. It's in the comments. Anyway, I'll try to stop talking about Seer, but come on, like, how long do we have to take this seriously? Math. Okay.
Have you read Das Kapital? I mean, everything he predicted about the wheat of 19 whatever Austria. Well, sure he got that right.
Exactly. One more thing about Seer Stone though, because like, do you guys remember the South Park episode about Walmart? Who made this? Was that Jared?
It was Jared. Inside of their tool was a Flip and Jonathan.
But like, there's the South Park episode about Walmart, and there's the whole scene where like, you know, Kyle and Stan and Kenny decide they need to defeat the Walmart, so they're going to set off to Alabama or Arkansas or whatever the fuck it is to defeat the Walmart. And of course, Cartman is a sneaky bastard. He's like, no, hey guys, I really care about the thing you care about too. Let me come with you. And Kyle goes, no, you're full of shit. You're just coming along to fuck with us, and then you're going to say, ha ha ha, I'm fucking with you. And he's, no, Kyle, I'm serious. And I'm like, and Kyle goes, no, you're full of shit. And they keep bouncing to this thing where like Kyle goes like, no, Cartman, you're full of shit. No, I'm not. And then it gets to the scene where Kyle goes like, you're going to betray us. And Cartman goes, ha ha ha, I got you. This is literally what Seer has done this whole time. We're like, from the very beginning, and you guys know this, I'm like, this guy's either a retard or a troll. And then I said to his face, well, Facebook face, you're either fucking retarded or lying or you're a troll. And he's like, ha, I'm not a troll, I'm serious. And then he goes, ha ha, I'm a troll, I got you. And I'm like, no, I said that, you fucking idiot. And I've been saying it all along. And you keep going, ha ha, I got you. No, you didn't.
When Flip chooses the Flip Wolf, it goes double Flip Wolf.
like literally day one, I'm like, you're not serious, you're a troll. And then like in that fucking message he sent to you, I don't know if you listened to that, he's like, I'm just playing, he didn't use these words, but he's like, I'm playing super 4D chess to get through to Flip. No, you're not. You're delusional.
Well, anyway.
A sock is not a troll. If I had ever made that claim, you'd have a point. I didn't say that. I said you're a troll, whatever fucking account you're using.
All right.
Everything you say is wrong.
Well, we'll get Seer on soon enough and then finish
Flip
out the
needs
point.
to get laid. There it is.
This is an incel. I mean, I saw on that other thing they were saying.
They're the exact same level. Like, okay, there you go. That's right, Maven. Fetuses aren't people and Marxism doesn't exist because incel shit. Good job. Jesus Christ.
So, anything else to say on Mavens?
It was full of stupid bullshit, but you know.
So she's a wee bit longhousey. Have you guys been following any of the other longhousey stuff happening in our little world here of like the white women for Kamala? Did you follow any of that?
Well, so I did. Did you watch that Mormon Stories episode with all those women on there?
No, what was that? I haven't even seen Mormon Stories lately.
There was one. Fuck, I can't even remember. It was majorly long. Oh yeah, they were reviewing Ballerina Farms, right? They
did that on Mormon Stories.
With a bunch of women talking about Ballerina Farm.
How come I didn't even see that yet?
Yeah,
because I'm all up on Ballerina Farms from everybody but those bozos.
Yeah, so you gotta watch it because it is very like. I mean, Sam's on there, of course. Sam, Divorce Queen, is on there to tell us the dangers of patriarchy, and the patriarchy is. One of my favorite things that they said in there, they were talking about how when they're doing the interview, they'll ask a question, and she confers with her husband before answering it, and he confers with, like, they talk to each other. Well, what's the answer to this question? And they're like, oh yes, she's deferring to her husband, just like a good Mormon would. And my favorite part is they're talking about how in love with her husband she seems and how much she's like swooning and stuff. And they're like, yes, that's just what Mormon girls are taught, to the need to fawn over your husband. And I was like, oh my God, what fucking church did you grow up in? That, like, how often do you see Mormon women fawning over their husband?
Yeah.
Like the first 2 months, and then that's it. But
yeah, after that, the husband is a burden. Like, it's like, oh, I can't believe you got her. Oh, he's sure married up. Oh man, how come you put up with his shit? Oh.
let's see what she says. I got one of her shorts on Ballerina Farms coming up. Hold on. And share that, and then I got to. Oh, it's showing it. Wow. Okay.
It's not showing it.
Is it showing the wolves?
Yeah, it is. Sorry. No, it's showing it now.
Or uncomfortably patriarchal aren't up for debate, even by them. It's just that in their minds, there's nothing wrong with those things because patriarchy is simply the water they've always swum in. So to paint it as anything but fine and good, to them feels nefarious in some way. Not biased.
So, Seer, I think we go to pains and extremes to define what the Marxism is far more than these guys ever do the patriarchy. The patriarchy is just like a smoke monster of, well, there's men around or something like that. But the patriarchy.
For a journalist to write an article that doesn't uphold the narrative the person being interviewed is trying to uphold, or that indirectly challenges the underlying beliefs behind their life choices. I really feel that patriarchy is so normal in so many people's brains that even people who don't necessarily follow it anymore are still inclined to defend things about it. Imagine if the genders in the article were reversed and we read about a man having to lower his voice when confessing a healthcare decision he once made while in.
Hi, Sam. Hi. I had an ex-wife who did not want me to go or act or feel sick or go to any hospital ever. Hi.
Extreme pain.
Heck,
Or a man.
Wait, I got it because, I mean, God damn it. Just the unbelievable irony. My dad, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because of how fucked up my mom is. My dad died in April. He died of heart failure. He got diagnosed with heart failure like 3 years ago. And he's been in and out of hospitals. And I'm just laughing because I talked to my mom and she goes, he loves this.
He loves this.
He says he's sick. I don't think he's really that sick. I don't think he's really so sick. And he loves the attention. He loves the hospital. It's like,
that's so fucked up.
It's like, because, like, you know why, Mom? Because, like, they, you know why he likes them? Because they like him. Unlike you fucking bitch. God damn it. And, like, and then the great irony is that, like my mom will call me from across town, literally schlep across town to drive a book a quarter of a mile to the library because I don't feel good today. I don't. but yeah, no, like literally, and like just my whole life, like my dad just worked and worked and worked. And like the only time my dad didn't work is if he was fucking sick. And my mom was relentless if he was sick. I don't, God damn it. But he's like, yeah, my dad was literally dying of heart failure. My mom goes, I don't think he's so sick.
I remember right when I got home from my mission is when my dad got his first nice car, right? Like, we never went without, but we were like pretty poor growing up. Like, I mean, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment where 4 kids shared a room and my parents had the baby in their room while my mom was pregnant with the next baby. And I mean, we liked it. I'm not bitching about that at all, but I remember coming home and my dad had his very first nice car. It was just a Honda Civic or something, but it was a newish one. And I was like, damn, I'm used to seeing my dad work like 11-hour days for dog shit pay for like a job that is evil and stuff like that. And then come home and have to open his car door with a screwdriver while the check engine light is just on for months. And I remember we went we were going to go to Walmart and they had a new dog. And my dad's one rule is like, I just don't want the dog in the new car because he chews at things. And so we go out. My mom's like, let's go to Walmart. And me and her go to Walmart. And I go to get in the crappy old Suburban. She's like, oh, let's take the car. And I was like, but you're bringing the dog. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, Dad doesn't like the dog in the car. And she's like, oh, he'll be fine. And I was like, but it's just like, it's not that much to ask, right? And so, but no, we take the car and we run briefly into Walmart. Window was cracked and it was very cool outside. Don't worry. And we come back and the dog had chewed the shit out of the interior of this car. And I was like, oh my God. And of course it was like, he'll be fine. I was like, he's had one nice thing as long as I've known him. And we just ruined it. We don't like, come on.
And also and it wasn't a guess. Like he said, "Please don't put the dog in the car." You know, like it wasn't a guess. Like you overrode the simple thing and it blew up. Yeah. No, I mean, like that's the thing is like, you know, because like to be clear, my dad was shitty in 10 million different ways, but my dad never abused my mom. But I watched my mom physically and emotionally abuse my dad relentlessly. And then, like, just because in pure fucking contrast to the way fucking Sam here is talking, like, it was one of the things I didn't realize, like, you know, took so, you know, that's things like it took me way less time to deconstruct the Mormon cult than it did to deconstruct the cult of my mom. You know, like, and I'm not exaggerating, but it took me forever to realize that, like, the thing, like, because my mom didn't like my dad ever, but the thing that my mom couldn't stand, the thing that she hated, the thing that was most likely to cause her to go off was when other people were enjoying my dad's company. Yeah. Like in the rare times when we had guests over or we were somewhere and my dad was holding court and he was being funny and people were laughing at him and all that stuff. Like I didn't know until later, but I like as a kid I'd have this like the feeling in my bones that the storm was coming. You know, like, and honestly, like, I think it was a big part of why like my mom tended to blow up around holidays is because holidays is when I got around people, and my dad was always fantastic with people, and they loved being around him. And my mom couldn't stand it; she hated that people liked him because like she's like, don't they understand what a piece of shit he is? You know, like that's what was going on in her fucked up head.
I've watched that scenario play out before too, and I've even watched that scenario play out with some empathy.
Look at the next comment. Just throw that up there.
Hold on, I gotta get back in the thing. I've watched that. Oops, I've watched that scenario with some empathy before, just in the sense of what's the next comment? Where
Charles Wagner says, "Damn, Flip is describing my childhood."
Yeah, mine's not so bad because my mom was domineering and definitely the pants in the family, just like basically how Jared describes every Mormon family, kind of. But she wasn't like vindictive. She wasn't vindictive to like if my dad was the center of attention or getting praise, she wouldn't like shit on that. You know?
Yeah, no, like
that's my mom's not like Flip's mom. My mom's a great mom, and she just, you know,
But I've seen that before too.
Yeah.
Here's the other big irony with Maven that like she would never listen to or acknowledge, or any of these feminist women, is that the whole evil church patriarchy priesthood thing. My mom played every single angle of that against my dad, right? One of the ways that she played the angle was that my dad, like, because my dad was always kind of liberal in his own way. My dad was always interesting because, like, my dad loved the church as a social, historical thing, but my dad was never like religious, if that makes sense, even though he was always Mormon. But like, sometimes my dad would drink. And then my mom vilified that my dad would drink. And like, even though I almost never knew or saw that my dad was drunk, I grew up with this like Godzilla level fear of dad might be drunk. But the thing is that, so my mom would go to the bishop after bishop after bishop, and just bitch and moan about like, oh, he doesn't work hard enough. Like my dad had only ever worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time my entire life, where he got treated like shit and paid like shit, and then he'd come home and his wife would yell at him. And then my mom used my dad's like semi-active, not temple-worthy status as the biggest club. And then he would go and she would go and shit talk my dad to all of the priesthood at church. So, and I remember like as an adult talking to my dad about this, and I'm like, you know, and like for a moment, it's because like, you know, and my mom obviously played all of his kids against our dad, like, Dad, you need to go to church. And then it wasn't until I was an adult when I was just like, why would my dad want to go in that building? Why would he want to go to church where my wife had poisoned every fucking well she could? Right? Now, did the evil patriarchy tell my mom, listen, bitch, count your fucking blessings. Be kind to your husband a little bit. Like, tell you what, How about you do a kindness tithing? Just be nice to your husband 10% of the time. You can be an evil bitch the 90%.
Tithing,
Give
yeah.
him 10. Give him 1 in 10 days where he has fucking peace in his life.
Oh man.
You're getting a bunch of preaching truth over there going on the truth, preach truth. Maybe that's what sets us apart, because I won't be like so ideological like these ladies, in the sense of, I did, of course, see the occasional patriarchal family. Like they were out there. There was a couple where the dad was definitely the domineering dude. But then I would agree with Jared that most of what I saw was the hard-headed woman, soft-hearted man. That's what I saw most of the time. And it was definitely my parents as well, although not as vindictive as Swiss Mom. But I saw that in the real world, and I even saw it with empathy at one point. Like I said, my ex-in-laws, the dad was the life of the party everywhere he went, and it would kind of drive his wife nuts. It would drive his wife nuts because he was just loved everywhere. But I had some empathy for that, because I saw like what he was, a hoarder, and he was a hoarder, and a very, very bad hoarder. And he, like, I saw ways that he drove her nuts in like her regular life, but then everywhere else he went, he was just like, wow, that dude's just the best. But you're not the one like living with it all the time.
Yeah.
I get like flabbergasted, like, yeah, he's the best. How could you ever be frustrated with him? Or like, he's just so great. Like, trust me, like he's irritating type, But then I've definitely seen some of the situations where it's just like completely uncalled for, over the top. This person is just cannot see any good in their spouse, and they just go and go and go. But there's all kinds out there. But just describing it and calling it the patriarchy and just assuming that's how it is out there is just, I don't know. It's just like a cold hard assertion that just doesn't like fit reality at all to me.
No, it does. It's not even close. It's always I file those moments in my head under a file named "What fucking world do you live in?" Like, where did you grow up? That like men in the church mostly like grovel at women's feet, and that's what they're taught to do.
And I know I saw wards of it.
No, you're like I like Thea Stone's backhanded bullshit. I listened to your shit today, man. It's full of shit. But anyway, like, this is the thing, is like the difference between me and Maven. Like, because Maven brought up my ex-wife knowing absolutely nothing, not realizing what a fucking trap she walked into by doing that. But never mind all that. Like, because I know that my upbringing was fucked up. I know that my parents' relationship was deeply fucked up. But I had normal aunts and uncles. I had all kinds of examples in my life that I could point out and be like, oh, it's not Mormonism that's not fucked up. It's not the institution of marriage that's fucked up. It's not 1980s and 90s Utah civilization that's fucked up. It's none of these things that Maven blames. No, my parents were fucked up. Other people aren't fucked up, and their marriages are good, and their families benefit. And it's a thing. It's totally okay to point at that and at least say, good for you.
Let me say something about Flip too that people might not imagine here, but it's absolutely true. You might be able to see it like how he interacts with Marty or something like that. Eric could have told you last week when he was on, but Flip has had very, very many kind of lefty-leaning liberal gal friends, girls who are his friends, and he's very, very good friends and gets along screamingly well with them for years and years and years at a time. Bestest buddies, invited to all the parties, go to his house, this sort of thing, that sort of thing. Just as much as guys all over the place, and they never would have like had any falling out. A few of them happened because Flip would say things like, I don't know, I think they're giving that Kavanaugh guy a bad rap. But it was not because Flip went and like incelled off on them. Flip has been perfectly lovely and beautiful with more women in his actual real world life than you could imagine. And he still keeps it up with several of them.
Like, no, that's the thing. Like, when I was a teenager, I was one of those guys that, like, in school, almost all, actually, thinking back, in school, My only male friend was the gay one. All of my friends were the gay guy and a bunch of chicks, mostly goth chicks and other weirdos. But like, yeah, no, when I was a kid, like in fact, like that's one of those things where people like the trans people, like, no, I'm one of those people who's actually always gotten along better with women than men. Not that I don't get along with men, but I'm just fine with women, you know. The thing that people run into, the Mavens and the Lindsays, Hanson Parks of the world, and all this stuff is, like I brought up before, is that because they're supremacists, they equate feminist with women and women with feminist. And so, like, when I say I think feminism is bad, they hear I think women are bad because they're retarded like that. And it's like, no, feminists are feminists. Like, women are just chicks, man. But like, you know, like my I just think a couple of my aunts, like my devout Mormon aunts, one of them died a couple years ago, and I've said before, like I brought it up, is like, I remember one day it almost brought me to tears listening to one of these Maven types, Sam somebody, talking on John DeLynne's show, and talking about like how just racist and homophobic and the Mormons aren't. And I remember, like, my aunt had died a few weeks before, and I brought a tear to my eyes, like, God damn it, you guys have no idea just how fucking wrong you are. You're so goddamn backwards in this shit. Like, it's
I've started to think about this from another point of view. Even like I got two sons now, and every time they say shitty things about men, like just blanket shit, I'm like, fuck you, that's my kid. Like, he's like, I don't want him growing up listening to your fucking bullshit.
I don't get where that doesn't come. I mean, because I know your wife has this, Jared, and I don't get why that rationality doesn't hit every single woman who has male children. Like, why do they not register that you white liberal woman, the awfuls, you know, affluent white, affluent white women of I forget how it's described, but your children are the males that are the patriarchy and all that sorts of stuff. How do you not understand that this stuff is demonizing your offspring, trying to train you into oikophobia of your own birth? Like,
what do you think you're gonna do? What do you think you're gonna do to a kid when he's like growing? It's like adopting a black kid and then just like being racist, like just the whole life, the whole time the kid's growing up, just not even, it doesn't even occur to you that what you're saying is really, really shitty about this kid that you love more than anything in the world. And he's just going to grow up thinking, oh, I'm shit because of something I can't help.
It does feel a little bit like adopting some Indian child and then like checking their skin to see if it goes wider and wider and wider. You're doing the opposite of that. You have your own like white kids and you're checking them constantly to see if they've properly picked up on all the
I mean, I saw this did you see, it was years ago. It was a father and a son, and they were like at this, it was like this slavery apology thing. Seriously, they had like the racks around their neck, and they had their hands in chains like slaves.
Oh yeah,
white father and son, and they were both bowing at the feet of these black dudes, and they had shirts on that said "I'm sorry." And I didn't have kids at the time, I don't think, but I was like, "Fuck you, man! Fuck you for teaching your kid that." I'm gonna go full Maven. Fuck you.
Well, I don't know if you know this about me, Jared, and I'd like you to acknowledge it, but I, for one, am particularly against forced harvesting of cotton. Did you know that about me?
Wait a minute. Oh my God.
Are you talking about Turkmenistan?
Did you acknowledge this about me? Because it's one of my better features.
I hate slavery so much. I just tell you that you know what I hate? It's homophobia. How often do I get in an argument about like whether a male can be a female, and then somebody responds with, "Well, love is love." What the fuck are you talking about? Were we talking? I got an argument today on. I was accused of strawmanning this dude on the ex-Mormon thing because my feminist ex-Mormon rival was telling me again that like she was like, "Oh, you're just slandering LGBTQ people," and I was like, "No, this is the weakness of intersectionality, okay? Because you evoke that entire acronym, right? We're talking about gender right now, so right now it's just the T we're talking about. If you call me a transphobe, I will disagree with you because I don't think I'm being transphobic, but I would know why you are saying that, okay? But you're including LGBT. What I never ever on this page said anything even slight bit objectionable about LGB. And then I was pointing out that this is the problem with intersectionality. This is Kimberly Crenshaw's bullshit that tries to connect all forms of previously unrelated bigotry. Say things like, "Oh, but you're you're transphobic," and that's rooted in that. Those are their magic words, rooted in white supremacy. And he's like, this guy's like, they are rooted in white supremacy.
Dude.
But you're straw manning me by, I don't know this Crenshaw lady. And I was like, okay, but you know what intersectionality is. All right. I don't think you know what a straw man is, buddy. I hate that people.
Go ahead. You hate the people.
I hate that people are learning learning debate words and psychological terms, things like gaslighting and fallacies and shit like that, because most people just don't understand them at all.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a too coquet, Jared. You're too coquet, ad hoc, proctor, ergo proctor hawk shit doesn't fly here.
Check out my screen share. I got something topical. Look at this. It's today.
First off, wait, did John DeLynn get into how Ballerina Farms is white supremacy? Did he get there?
I don't.
Man, I should have watched.
Probably. I didn't finish it.
I kind of forgot John DeLynn existed a bit, except for his sweet '80s hairdo that was on Anthony Miller's post this week. I'll pull that up.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched the Mormon stories in a hot minute. Let's see, where is it? Hold on. Where is it?
I'm sharing the screen. I don't know how it works on your end.
Oh, yeah, it's on the screen. Okay.
Look at the date. It's today.
Turkmen teachers ordered to pick cotton instead of teach classes as harvest approach.
You guys know about the famous Turkmen cotton harvest? You guys know about Turkmenistan? Oh, so what do you guys want to bet that Turkmenistan is a country founded on principles like individual freedom, open markets, or do you think it's an autocratic nightmare? Turkmenistan is one of the worst autocratic nightmares on earth. And their economy is so fucked up that it relies on a cotton harvest. And every year, all of the professionals are literally forced, like doctors, lawyers, but everybody in the cities is forced into the fields to pick the harvest to keep the fucking economy going. And then just because I'm on this is such a crazy thing. But let me switch. Okay, sharing this tab instead. Are you guys seeing the Google Earth?
Yes.
Okay, so Turkmenistan, where the fuck are you? You're in some weird place. Oh, there it is. So Ashgabat is the capital of Turkmenistan, and their crazy dictator has done all kinds of things, like name like days of the week after things like his mom and his dog and shit. Oh, then a few years ago, he declared a rule that said that like cars couldn't be in colors. Like, let's see, where's downtown Ashgabat?
You're trying to find like a car on the street.
There it is. Look, there are only white cars.
Holy shit!
Oh my gosh, he's a forced cotton labor white supremacist. This is all rooted in white supremacy.
This is white people's fault.
Apparently, a few years ago, wealthy Turkmen people in Ashgabat who had cars that weren't white, like they'd go out in the street and their car was gone. And then it would be returned painted white.
That's awesome.
Later. But yeah, so like you guys,
that's like what Mormons used to do to Indian kids. This is rooted in white supremacy.
Look at that. White cars. It's only white cars in Turkmenistan. But yeah, teachers are out in the cotton fields because, you know, God forbid they try an open democratic capitalist society in Turkmenistan.
Let's take our mind off those negative things and focus in on John. Sweet dude in his sweet outfit just 5 years ago. I just like those.
He likes the dorky dad aesthetic. He's tried to play up on it for a long time.
Well, it's the stake president aesthetic. It's how you get the monies in the ex-Mormon world.
Wanted to wait a year to get married because he was in his last year of med school, but the woman insisted they needed to get married right away, so he dropped out. If you reverse the genders of the kind of things we read in the article, I think it would so clearly be problematic. Things that made Hannah and
so clearly
traditionally
hold on.
Someone's supporters, and I think is really valuable this week. What I learned is that you can tell a lot by who someone's supporters and antagonists are. For example, my supporters are people who are
these are the two people who tell me Ballerina Farms is rooted in the white supremacy and patriarchy.
long, lengthy TikToks that don't really have like a soundbite answer. Like people who are willing to sit down and watch like a 9-minute conversation about systems. And my
Christ,
people who call me
like, how many times can you say the word systems for 9 minutes without actually saying anything? Like, I think that's a pretty good test. Like, the systems are so systematic.
I also love how she's trying to talk about. Well, I also love how she's trying to talk about like, oh, you guys just want little tiny sound bites, and then I thought she was gonna go to like a long form conversation, but she said 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
We're sophisticated enough that we can listen to a 9-minute video about systems.
An internet feminist, which is like basically what I've been trying to be my whole life. So it's funny that they use that as an insult. There are other accounts online who have the kind of supporters who write comments like this one.
What's it say? Hannah, please never give opportunity to liberal feminist Democrats and leftists to go to your home or interview your family. They hate you and your family for what you represent, and the white Christian health, wealth, hardworking, beautiful. So that was something written to the Ballerina Farms.
Wait a minute. Here's a prediction. She's about to prove that comment exactly right.
So yeah, I guess there are all kinds of people in the world.
Oh, she's
like what sort of I mean, yeah. So like a second thing came out about that Ballerina Farms, and they released tape, and a lot of people think that it was obviously doctored, and so these people have been kind of playing off their back foot for a while, that the lady interpreted it her way to make it sound as terrible and patriarchal as she could. And if you listen to the actual stuff, it doesn't sound as bad as she painted the picture. Imagine that. But they, of course, run defense for that whole entire thing. But did you guys see, I mean, this happened over a week ago, but did you watch the White Women for Kamala Harris podcast?
I saw parts of it.
You saw parts of it? Flip, did you see any of it?
Which one is it?
It was White Women for Kamala Harris podcast.
Okay, wait. Who? I've only seen clips of these people. Are they
This
real?
is Base Camp. They're an interesting podcast. You should watch like all their episodes because they have good stuff. They're total dweebs, but dweebs in the good way.
The
Yeah,
lady's
they're weird
just
as
a
hell.
little too painted on, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're both like a little bit strange, but this is
They are
also kind
pretty
of like
painted on,
an
yeah.
insight into the new Silicon Valley kind of right people who exist. They even like
So they creep me out. Like, no, like that's the thing. It's like, yeah, the lady in particular, she's just, I don't know, because like I can't tell her angle anyway.
I also don't know why they're in the same house. I don't know why they.
Yeah, they do that.
Trad LARPing.
They're husband and wife, and they look like they're siblings. And they are also trad pro-natalists, trying to have 75 kids. And but then they do that all from a little bit of that homo trad world of they're not like true believers in any of like the type of stuff. They're just also pretending to kind of be true believers in the type of stuff because it's like, the world they choose.
Like this is like it looks a little bit too much like some kind of extremely specific, like Wisconsinian Lutheran porn.
Yes, and they're self-aware of that. Yes, and they are self-aware of that. Yeah.
Okay, so that is the idea. It's Lutheran porn. Okay.
Spoiling are fictional Black people that are telling us to do this.
We are here because BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good, like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on.
Oh my God, I hate you.
do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change.
Holy shit.
As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not. Intentionally seek out and share content from BIPOC creators, activists, thought leaders. They should be the leaders of conversations about race and justice and equity. So just whatever you do, don't stay silent on issues of injustice. Big changes can start with just one person who's brave enough to speak up. I know when you see some headlines or someone makes a wild claim.
Take this on your birthday, Jared. Happy birthday, Jared.
Permission
Kids,
to pause.
I love you, but
you're all, and do a Google
you're all
search
just terrible.
And ask questions and be critical of the sources. I was a kindergarten teacher, and sometimes we would read stories. And I know I have some of my former students here and their families. Hi. We would learn about a historical event, and I would ask my students, who is missing from this story? This is not a concept or question that I invented, but it's something that I was taught as a way to decenter the Eurocentric and white voices.
So you know her whole.
I want to I wish.
I've seen her stuff before. They post it in Ex-Mormon all the time.
She's supposed to talk like a kindergarten teacher to.
If my kid went to kindergarten and his teacher started talking to him like that, I wouldn't punch her in the face. I wouldn't do that, but I would walk out and say, "No, we're not doing this. We're homeschooling."
So I just want to know, imagine that, there's some fully Shoshone kid born on the reservation in Idaho, and then he gets a job and immigrates to Norway, and he lives there for 15 years, and then he shows up at a city council meeting. And he starts to open his opinion, and they all go, "Fuck you, colonist! You're not indigenous. You need to sit down and shut up and listen to the indigenous voices." Or is he allowed to have an opinion? This is one of those things, obviously I'll never get an answer.
Indigenous just means not white.
Yeah, I'll never, ever get an answer. But I'm because that's things okay, how? What is an indigenous person? What are they? Because I found out that patrilineally.
Oh, we found out it's not whiteys in London. I mean, that's.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, there you go. No, but patrilineally, my dad's dad. The first Johnson landed in America in 1638. So almost 400 years. Am I not a native yet? My great grandpa was born in Utah.
No.
When am I a native? When does it
Kamala
happen?
Harris is, whose mom is an Indian and dad is a Jamaican and was raised in Canada. That's America.
Yeah.
So when you become, I'll tell you when you become native or indigenous, it's when you become righteous and the scales of whiteness fall from your skin and you are black and delightsome.
Lefty YouTubers, there's really almost every time they're in one of two professions. They are either a teacher for secondary or primary school, i.e. from kindergarten to high school, or they are a therapist. You look at somebody like Fundy Fridays, right? Her partner is a therapist.
Oh, John?
Yeah, he's a social worker therapist. So it is horrifying to me, and you really do need to be. And I'd also say with husbands, we're going to do an episode. We haven't done it yet. It's the therapy to divorce pipeline.
Oh yeah, we still have to do that.
Oh my gosh. If your wife is I'm thinking about therapy, you really need to. This is not 90s therapy. This is more like saying I'm thinking about joining Scientology. Every alarm bell should be raised.
Uh-oh. Sam wouldn't like that. Hold on, there's more of the ladies. You want to see more ladies? I can't believe that I'm sharing that thing. And I mean, I know, Seer Stoner, that this stuff's supposed to be on the internet over there and not real. But this was Kamala Harris's actual group of white ladies for Kamala Harris, launched right in line.
shows what
with their whatchamacallit, with their
Hey, Eric
shows
Sean
what
wants
we're
to
fighting
jump on.
against.
Can you get the link to him? Do you have any way to get him directly other than posting in the comments? Because it's about time for Eric Sean to jump on. We need the, you know what I'm saying. I mean, we can put it in the comments, right? We did it before.
Yeah, that's how I did it last week.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like. There we go. There it is. You're listening, Eric. There you go.
We're literally fighting against the devil here, and I think
they're owning it, just like we owned.
Let me go back. Hold on.
It shows what we're fighting against. We're literally fighting against the devil here, and I think
they're owning it, just like we owned deplorables. But
I just nailed it. Sorry,
there's a bit of a difference when
What's that?
we
What they look like?
Because
I'm trying to find this.
I just realized what's bugging me, and once I say it'll stop bugging me quite as much, but it'll still bug me. But this is the thing about this lady is I don't remember what it was, but there's some famous fashion icon that said, "Before you leave the house, take one thing off." And I want to say that to this lady podcasting. Like one of the things has to go: the lipstick, the glasses. Pick one of the things, and then I won't be so fucking. It's not so uncanny.
I will be dropping the link into my Witches for Harris. Get your friends to donate. Let's start to feel
Witches for Harris.
our
Oh, look at the
collective
diversity,
power.
everybody! Can you guys see the diversity? I couldn't
You hear that was witches for Harris, but I mean they said that was like a white women for Harris podcasting or whatever.
Witches for Harris is definitely going to be a bunch of white women.
Oh, there you go.
It's like you show a black woman like the Witches for Harris.
And, it's funny because like so many things in my life, tonight's call
Jared, you were
started
there.
out as a social media post. Just a few hours after President Biden announced he wasn't running and he was endorsing Kamala Harris to be the nominee, I watched Black women instantly mobilize to uplift and support her. And it made me wonder whether white women could and would do the same.
The magical Black woman.
The magical Black woman. Yeah, they.
When you were in Brazil, Jared, did you run into any of the like candomblé, the weird Brazilian witchcraft, like Brazilian voodoo stuff?
The batuque.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 50 of them.
Yeah, they would leave their they put they kill chickens and leave them on a paper plate with a bunch of hayes on it, and I'd be like, "What is this?" And my companion would be like, "That's they sacrifice things and they leave it on a plate of money." And I was like, "What do they do with the money?" It's like they just stays there, so it would just stay on the street corners. And I was like, "Nobody's gonna take it," and he's like, "No, it's cursed." And I was like, "Free lunch." I just grabbed a handful of coins. He's like, "Oh no."
No, that's how that, like I've decided that's how that works, you know. Like when my dad died, I had like a personal dilemma, and I'm like, I don't know what to do about this personal dilemma, and I'm like, I know that I don't give a fuck about therapists, but I'd rather talk to a priest, and so I'm like, well, the nearest church to me is the Orthodox church down the street, and so I like called him and I sent him a message, and we kind of bounced back and forth. And I never talked to the guy, and I solved my problem. So I'm like, okay, there's my answer from Orthodox God. I tried. I knocked on Orthodox God's door, and that's things like, and I knew the priest. Like I know the priest because I sell him wine from time to time. Very rarely. Good priest does not drink a lot. But yeah, just that. Like so, I tried. I knocked on the Orthodox God's door. Didn't answer, and so that's kind of how I do. Like I give them all a shot. Like when I went to England, I went to all the churches and I paid £1 and lit the candles and waited for the blessings. We'll see.
Let's take a couple like different looks. So some people view Kamala and Waltz as the principal in the Longhouse lady, but then let's look at another guy who views it a different way. Where did it go? Here it is.
This is the cringiest tweet of
You
all.
want to read it? I mean, he views it the opposite way. I mean,
Tim Walsh is my dad. Kamala's my fun aunt who lives next door. They just found out I'm being bullied by the shittiest kid in my class, JD. When they try to talk to his dad, Don, it becomes clear that he's the real problem. They go back to their car. Kamala's Kamala pulls out her cop badge. Tim grabs his old baseball bat. They walk back to Don's porch. As Tim reaches for the doorbell, they look at each other and smile. This is gonna be fun.
All right, wait, look at this one though. Here's one to throw you off. This is Longhouse mom Kamala, but she's chewing out the hard leftists. So what do you think about this?
And he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
Oh yeah, she's mad at the Gaza protesters.
So can the den mother the hard leftists as much as she den mothers everybody else?
So I'm assuming it was probably a good idea to not pick Shapiro.
Jared, Sean, like,
hey,
really?
What?
Would you
What
vote
part?
for? Would you vote for a Kamala Walz ticket?
Yes. No. Well, here's the thing. I live in Utah, and it's going to go 75% Trump. So it doesn't
Hang
really
on,
matter.
no.
But I want Porchtown to know I'm going to Nevada to campaign for
I'm
her.
probably voting RFK just for the bear story.
Let's,
Have you heard the bear
let's
story?
Let's pretend that there was no
Fuck
electoral.
yeah, the bear
college.
story is awesome. That's like I solidified it.
If we pretend that there was no electoral college, would you still vote for the Harris Walz ticket just to beat Trump?
I'm going to vote for Harris Walz because it serves my self-interest, and I'm going to go to Nevada to campaign for Harris.
What are your self-interests?
Public transit.
His job is public transit.
Do you really
if there's
think
anybody who
that-
has a decent reason, it's him.
Yeah.
You think? Okay, Trump was president for 4 years.
Right.
How did that go with your job?
They cut service over 50%.
Okay, but your job,
My job.
You're
Public service, UTA. The
No. But like, you
Are you in? Are you like?
you
I
didn't
was
take
at 50%. You're still.
you
in,
didn't take a pay
right?
cut.
I didn't take a pay cut. I actually,
Right?
it
No,
actually,
so you're okay.
I'm fine.
No, all that happened. All that
but the
happened
general
is that
public is
half of the empty buses are just gone. Now it's
No,
just
I
half-
mean that's the dumbest thing I think you've ever said to me, and I've known you for 20 years. Like,
oh, that's not the dumbest thing.
well, the dumbest thing you've ever said to me is
Way
somewhat
dumber.
sober. Somewhat
Sober.
sober.
Are you sober, Flip? Is there a booze?
But
night?
here's the thing:
No,
is,
like,
like,
this is-
it's
this
going
is
to
all
take
the
us till
stuff of the
April
Bourgeois.
2025 just to get the Route 39 back to every 15 minutes. And
Okay,
that's
but I don't know, but like, I mean, I don't know. Like,
Troy
this is
says,
an
"I
area-
live in Nevada. The closer the race becomes here, the more committed I am to voting for a third party."
I simply
I'm voting RFK for the Bear, New York
Fuck
City.
yeah, the
Oh,
bear
dude,
story.
John Oliver
Bear.
just went off on
I don't know, but
RFK.
like, I
John
don't know,
Oliver's
but-
retarded.
I don't like, because that's the thing is, okay, Eric, you and I both share something in this whole thing. We both have complete bullshit government jobs that we both know in a perfect
Could be
world
done
would
by the
not
private.
exist. Would not
No,
exist as
absolutely
they
not.
are
Like,
now.
How drunk are you? Like,
Not
I love
very,
you, but,
not
like,
very.
There
I'd
could
like
be a
you're-
private
you're-
bus
You're
system.
sounding. This is like it sounds
No,
like you've gone
hey,
off the deep end tonight. Like,
Eric, Eric,
no,
have you ever
here's
gone?
the thing,
Have you ever
like-
been in a city with a functioning public transport system that is
Portland.
actually okay? Like, and do you? Because I don't know. Genuine question. I don't know. I know roughly. I mean, it's been a few years. I know the answer for Utah. Does the Portland transit system pay for itself?
no, in New York, no one.
No.
None of these, none
Oh,
of these
no.
make, like.
Wait, no.
60%
You know where they do? You know
60%
where
of the
public
money we
transport
get is
You know where
from-
public transport pays for itself? Mexico,
Mexico,
Brazil,
Well, no, Mexico.
Bangladesh.
Well, there's a bunch of
Yeah,
like
but those are
private
the-
buses and private.
No, but like
private taxis.
there are lots of places on Earth that have profitable public and or private public transport.
Okay.
Right? In America, it's laughable because I think you're the guy who told me less, and this has been a few years. God only knows what it is now, but less than 10% of UTA's operating costs are covered by fares.
16%.
Is it? Wow, all the way up to
16% is
15.
from fares,
But
the rest
that's-
is from the federal government and state government.
That's bonkers. Because like, and you know, and that's the thing is like, and to be clear, I'm not saying like abolish buses. No, I like buses. Like, and
everyone loves tracks, whether you use it or
no,
not.
but there's something not optimal about what's going on with our thing.
Well, look at tracks. People voted tracks down, and it's a huge success. And they over 100,000 people a day ride tracks. Like,
is it a huge success? I genuinely don't like. I don't
have
know
you ever?
I used tracks all the way through college, and the
I
last
kind
day
of
I
feel
wrote
like
it, I
no,
praised
but
the
like
sweet Lord, baby Jesus. But
no, look, I've used tracks. I enjoy tracks. Hey, I'm gonna take tracks tomorrow. I'm going to the airport. I'm gonna take tracks.
Good, cool. That's smart.
No, but like, just to be clear, this isn't a fuck you, tracks is garbage thing. But there might be a little Trumpiness in huge success. I don't think it's a huge success, because one thing is, if it was a huge success, I think it would have been expanded by now, because there's a lot of areas that, and you know this. Now, here's the other thing, though, Eric. Though,
wait. I want to answer your question. Wait,
Sorry.
stop.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so let me answer your question. So, when Obama was in office, he passed the largest public transit bill in history. And he got Republicans to do it too. Thank you, all the Republicans in the House. Love you for voting yes on this. But I totally. Anyway, you were going on and on. I want to cut you off and answer your question. So continue.
I don't even remember. See, now I'm sidetracked because I was just thinking about because when you're on the show, I just go down memory lane, and I remember when you told me about how you were like traveling somewhere, and you were trying to rent a car, and you were 24. And they wouldn't let you rent a car, and you were showing them their CDL, and you're like, they let me drive a 50-foot, 20,000-pound, 80-person capacity mega machine. I'm trying to rent a Camry.
This is true story. Eventually, I turned 25 and I rented a car in France. I went to AAA and got an international license, and I'm like, let me rent a Peugeot. I want to go to France. But anyway, don't let me hijack porch time. I'm here to contribute.
But the other reminiscence, though, because I remember asking you, like, is driving a bus fun? And you said,
absolutely.
But I just remember what you said is like, it's fun for 2 hours. For the next 25 years, it's a job.
No, I did that. I've never said that, and if I did, I didn't mean it. And
I thought that was perfect.
We've had some late nights together, but I think you made that up in your head.
No, that is burned into my memory. I laughed all the way.
I might have said that a long time ago when I had a terrible schedule, but like after like 19 years, I have a wonderful schedule. My life is so amazing. So I might have said that because I was sick of working a split shift. I had a split shift at 4 a.m. to like 7:30 at night, and I'm like, oh, I got a 6 hours. Like I take the bus home, take a nap for 6 hours, and then go back to work instead of going to the gym like Chris, a smart person would do. But now I have a dog, so it's all good.
No, but because that's the thing. Like, I don't know, because like I said, you and I are in a similar situation where we both work in bullshit government jobs. Now that thing's like, I even remember getting into it, not getting into it, but talking to one of my coworkers about like, because there's a referendum coming up that would privatize all liquor sales in Utah. And that thing's like, I love my benefits. I have the same health care as senators in Utah. I get all kinds of paid time off. I don't ever work a Sunday. I get all the holidays off. Like, I love all that stuff. It's great having it. But I would trade all of that if I could sell wine in Utah in anything close to a normal environment. I would happily.
Hey, and maybe your private boss.
Yeah, Reese. So it's government run in Utah. Anything that's hard alcohol.
Oh, it is. So there are 17 control states in Utah, and Utah is the controllingest one.
Go watch a Bar Rescue episode where he goes to Utah. That's the funniest shit ever.
Yeah, what's the rescue?
Flip to sell wine and booze here has to do it through the state and our state liquor stores. And
I have this fantasy.
He gets Longhouse there, so like no matter how competent he gets in that sort of world, it doesn't matter.
No, like I have this like fantasy, like This Is Your Life, not This Is Your Life. What's the
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous?
No, Bob Einstein's Al Brooks movie.
Life. Yeah, I know
the thing where you see the movies of your life. I have this thing where I go to heaven, and then one of the things I get
defending
to do,
your life.
Defending your life. There it is. But I just want to see the super cut of all the faces of people when I tell them that we're not allowed to taste the wine. Like when people come from France and they ask, I need to go to a serious wine store, and they come to our store and they're told it's a serious wine store, and they tell me, they ask me like, is the 2021 Beaucastel, how does it compare to the 2020? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. They don't let us taste the wine. And like, I just want a picture of that face, just every time, just that face, you know. And then I want a picture of every time I ask a 78-year-old Canadian if they have their passport with them, because we don't accept an Ontario driver's license. I want a picture of that. Like, it's just a madness. Oh, and I have this whole idea of like, if I ever become a billionaire, I'm going to produce a bunch of sketches about this stuff. But I always have this joke about like, whenever people like make a joke about our ridiculous rules here, I'm like, yeah, well, I know that wherever you're from, you can't even walk down the street without being bowled over by a ginned up toddler on a big wheel. Like, it's just nothing but drunk children everywhere you go. Can't cross the street without a drunk child having hijacked a school bus. Like, like that's my whole beef with the whole Utah thing. It's like, I'm a very evidence-based guy. And everything they do in Utah that's stupid and that everybody goes, the fuck is that? Their justification is to prevent underage drinking. Okay, what's the evidence that shit works? It's as much evidence as Searstone has provided that James Lindsay is wrong about Marxism. None. Zero. Negative evidence.
Okay,
Literally
hang on.
evidence.
I was actually, so I had a flip moment just now. Do you remember how we were talking about the smart girl in this smart superhero woman in The Boys?
Yeah.
And how did you watch that video I sent you about the worst ways to write smart people? Anyway, there's a video I watched, and I've seen so many like smart people written, and it's always like the smart person, he like basically divines things that he couldn't possibly know. Like the example they use is Sherlock. The first time he meets Watson, the Benedict Cumberbatch one, he he says, "Oh, I see that your brother is an alcoholic, and he gifted you that phone." And somehow, like, he knew that the brother gifted him the phone, and the phone had scratches on it, so he knew that the brother was an alcoholic who stumbled off and scratched the phone. And you were like, and you're talking about the smart superhero and how like she just disappears for a while and then comes back at the end, like this was all part of my plan. But there's like just so many things that she couldn't have possibly known was going to happen, and that's what I don't get about this. Okay, I didn't want to address all the Searstone stuff because I don't want to gang up on people, but the whole I'm gonna go play Jesus Christ Simulator in general, I feel like my work is done here. Anyone paying attention will now know how to flip. I was like, what are you talking? I don't know what you keep saying you're LARPing, but like you kind of just came on here and just in costume gave your actual opinions. That's not what LARPing is. And
you guys know,
you, like Flip was talking about his mom right there. Do you think that was you? Like you think that you did that? He talks about this all the time. This isn't some like 60 chess, man. I don't know what happened. I missed something. I'm stupid. I must be stupid because I don't understand how any of this is Borat.
You guys know that I've been saying from the very beginning, this guy is, I've already lost my train of thought most of the way through this Beaujolais. But like, yeah, like I don't know. Oh, that's right. You guys know that I've been saying about Searstoner, along with a couple other of our regular commentators. This is it. I remember now. That I've been saying specifically. This guy reminds me of the Steve Buscemi "Hello Fellow Kids" meme. Like Searstoner, Will Matheson. Like you keep doing this thing where like you think like you're doing this thing. Like, no, you are Steve Buscemi in that meme. Nobody here is confused about what or who you are or what you're about. Like, you're the one that's confused about what I'm about, clearly. Like, again, literally, I listened to that whole thing that you sent to Chris today. I don't even know if Chris listened to it. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're hypocritical. And God damn it, like, I don't even know what your fucking deal is. And, like, it's starting, like, because I don't want to go through that dumb, like, well, I'm worried about you thing, because I'm not. I don't know you. I don't care. But God damn it, like, I'm waiting for you to give me a reason to take you seriously at all. Like, let's take Jack Eric Burton here, for example. He's known me for about 15 years.
Longer than that.
Like,
Go on.
Like, we barely talked for years because of how pissed off he and really his wife was at me about my shit. Like, but he fucking gets it. Like, what the fuck? I don't even know. I don't even know where I'm going now because I've had too much to drink. But god damn it, like
what you been drinking?
You admitted it that you had too much to drink tonight.
No, I'm like again, like this thing's I've never like this whole like again, he has this whole idea that I'm this thing that I'm not. Like, no, I'm totally fine with what I'm doing. Like Thursday night is when I have a bottle of red wine. That's literally what I do now, all right?
What
but like always like Eric is like we disagree, but Eric is fundamentally honest. Eric listens, Eric tries.
This is
like,
all
dude,
true.
I don't know.
I'm not a bigot.
What the fuck? Yeah, no, like Eric is one of the most unbigoted people. Like, I think he's got a lot of weird ideas. He said a lot of things that I don't understand that. But like,
you did ask me, like, what dark corner of Reddit did you hear that from? Remember when conspiracy theories were fun? Hey, real quick, remember when conspiracy theories were fun? Like, growing up watching X-Files, I loved fun conspiracy theories. Like, do you think JD Vance was a member of Skull and Bones and he had to like masturbate in a coffin and everyone watched him and now he's vice president? Like, like, just saying.
Well, here's the crazy irony about that. All that is because like it's funny that like because leftists, again, not saying that you're doing this necessarily now, but we know for goddamn sure the way this works is like, oh, those fucking creeps, they're so weird. Oh, is it? Is our sexual fetishes weird now? Is that a thing we're supposed to shame and look down on and say, "Hey, you fucking creep"? Like, for example,
I'm a self-asexual. Like, who's who's
like really? Like,
me?
who's to say?
Also,
hey,
I cannot stop saying it. But like, when I heard that the first time that somebody told me like, hey, JD Vance fucked a couch, my thought was like, oh, yeah, probably. I mean, he's a white trash kid growing up with a drug addict mom. The kids put their dicks in weird places. I don't know. Like, in fact, just the other day, I took my kid to baseball. He had to go pee, and I didn't want him to miss the rest of baseball, and the bathroom was way far away. So I'm like, okay, you haven't done this yet, but go pee on a tree. And I took him over to a tree, and I turned around for a second to attend to the 3-year-old, and when I turned back, he's squatting, and he's taken his wiener and tucked it down between his legs, and is just squatting, and like it looks like a woman peeing. It's the weirdest shit ever. It's like, who taught you that? Anyway, that's a sidetrack. But yeah, when I heard that JD Vance fucked the couch, which wasn't true, like it ended up not being true, but I was like, yeah, are you telling me an Appalachian white trash kid did something weird with his dick? I don't care.
Like, another one was like, if you can ask God anything, it's like, what is the total percentage of dicks that never ended up someplace weird once?
I don't know. I don't know. In that weird places, I guess some women are weird. Let's see.
That's the thing. Like, well, that's the easy out. Is most dicks are weird. So there you go.
I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So, see what I did there.
We saw what you did there.
You see what I did there? He's announcing the joke.
I mean, at least Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Like, I'm not endorsing him by any means. He's a fucking idiot, but like, at least he can admit that he has a checkered past and that he's made horrible decisions in his life, and he admits all of that. Like, he admits that, like, yeah, I got busted with heroin, but got community service because Kennedys don't go to jail, and that's what got him into like green environmentalism and like green capitalism and whatnot. But at least he can admit it, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I remember.
He's also a fucking rock star. That bear story is awesome. That's like some shit that's some shit AC/DC would have done on tour. Like, don't tell me that's not cool.
I remember what I was getting at with you earlier, Eric, because when you say I vote for self-interest, because I'm just going to Godwin you right now. So like you'd vote for Hitler as long as he's promising.
No, heavens no. Okay, and like, look, let's just like stick with the facts. Like, I'm with Harris because I agree with her policies. I'm against Robert F. Kennedy because I'm against his policies.
Wait, hang on. What are the Kamala policies that you She's for that you were.
Number one, keep Pete Buttigieg as the Secretary of Transportation. He is a rock star. Like, I love Pete Buttigieg.
I mean, that's an assumable.
I know that's not a policy, but that's like
yeah.
a cabinet position that's important to me.
She'll
that
probably
we have.
say, like, no,
it's
okay, I
important
agree
that Buttigieg stays in the White House as a cabinet, as a Secretary of Transportation.
Sure.
That's numero uno.
Even though he's a racist.
Why? Because he funds money and stuff like that. I mean,
well, he keeps the lights on, and like
he is a racist.
He said some incredibly stupid things over time, but
I'm sure he did, and I don't really follow politics as close as you guys.
And he is a racist.
At the table here, but
he openly advocates for racist policies.
Yeah, well, that's every person that she's going to pick is advocated for racist
that's true. That's
kind of par for the course.
If you if you vote Democrat, you are voting for racists. But
I'm not even going to say the lesser of two evils. I'm just going to say that as far as policy goes, she represents me and my self-interest and what I want out of life. And honestly, I live in Utah. I've tried to avoid presidential conversations with people at work all the time. But I will say I live in Murray and I have a Democrat who represents me, and I'm so fucking proud of that fact.
Just genuinely. I appreciate your honesty of just saying no, look, it is self-interest. Like, that's the thing I really do appreciate about you, because you're not pretending like you are the moral superior choice, that you're making the morally superior.
Wait,
choice.
you're not doing it to save democracy?
Yeah, that's it really is refreshing to hear somebody say that,
I mean, look, I'm not going to go verbose on what I dislike about Trump. I'm not going to go verbose on what I dislike about RFK.
Dude, we've filled hours with what we don't like about Trump.
Yeah, I believe you. I'm new to the pod. I got a lot of catching up to do, but I have a dog that likes to go for long walks.
Can I put you in the trap? I'm going to put you in the trap because I already did it once.
Welcome to trap time.
It is trap time. Raise your hand. My hand's already raised. Everybody raise your hand if you affirm the following statement. And everybody on the comments, play along. Do you affirm the following statement? The Republican Party is intellectually and morally bankrupt.
Oh, I think they're great. I think they're just
not all of them. I can't. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to.
I didn't say all of them. I didn't say all of them. I didn't say all of them.
No, the Republican Party is definitely bad.
Party.
Except the Mitch McConnell guy.
I watched a YouTube video with Vice News, and they couldn't even make the young Republicans appealing to me because they're just so stupid.
Reedstow raised his hand. One person. Okay, and raise your hand if you think that the Democratic Party is intellectually and morally bankrupt.
I think both of the major parties are intellectually and morally bankrupt. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's something I appreciate about Eric is that he won't deny outright the bullshit. Maven thinks that she's on the side, she thinks that she is the Superman in the comic books that only makes the moral choice. She really thinks that, I appreciate that Eric is a much more intellectually honest human, and it says no, part of this is self-interest. I'm doing the best I can in the system I can, but I'm not going to pretend like I am the moral master here.
Right. And let's when it comes to politics, I just want to get this off my chest. I care about what goes on in my neighborhood. I care what goes on in my city. I care what goes on in my county. I care what goes on in the state. National politics, I can't do anything about it. I love YouTube Premium because I can listen to John Oliver and National Politics and PBS NewsHour, whatever.
John Oliver,
CNN, MSNBC.
We've gone in on John Oliver.
Yeah, but I can. But he's funny, right?
He's not.
That's the worst part about him.
We've gone in on his humor quite a bit.
That's the worst part. I would forgive the bullshit if it was funny. I will laugh at bullshit if it's funny.
What do you guys think of Bill Maher?
He's an interesting guy.
We put some Bill Maher stuff up on ironically sometimes.
Bill Maher is really fascinating because he shits on the woke and he shits on the left really hard. But just as recently as 3 weeks ago, he was still pushing Russiagate. Still.
Well, yeah, and I'm almost finished with his book. His book is amazing, by the way. If anyone wants to give it the time of day, I'm listening to the audiobook, and it's read by him. And he, I just thank goodness for Bill Maher, because he is one of the few sane people. But There are some things where I'm like, oh, get off that. Like, Bill, that was 8 years ago. It's like Eminem rapping about Monica Lewinsky.
Bill Maher,
15 years
Bill
after
Maher,
the fact.
We generally like Bill Maher. Like
Bill Maher has been a full-blown anti-vax, vaccines cause autism conspiracy theorist since the fucking 90s.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like, that might be true, but he's like, I met him in San Francisco. He's amazing. Like he's
no, I don't doubt it, but he's a goofball. No, I'm just saying, like
on some things, on some issues,
it is one of
I
the
roll
great
my eyes.
ironies. One of the great ironies of the last
couple
few
times
years.
I'll roll my eyes.
Let's examine ourselves here a little bit, because like there's so many like lefty comics and that sort of stuff. Do we have are any of the comics that we like very politically biased? Like there might be like a little political bias in there, like Kyle Dunnigan, but it's not like ultimately. I
would say my favorite's Lewis Black. You ever listen? He's just so pissed off all the time. I love
the
Lewis
most biased comedians that I can think of that I pay attention to.
Can I do this?
It I'm just thinking about the last. I can think about all the job interviews I've done over the last few years, where like they always ask, like, tell me about a shitty subordinate. And I just always do the most recent thing. So going by the most recent thing, it's Jimmy Dore and Kurt Metzger, and I love them both. But they are the most politically biased.
Can I do this? I gotta read this.
But what's their bias? I mean, Metzger's.
Dude,
Go
Metzger
ahead,
has fucking swallowed
Okay.
the Gaza bullshit. But go ahead, Jared.
Okay. Trump being president is like a squirrel riding a skateboard. It's entertaining for a few minutes, but then you have to start to wonder how the fuck it got there. That's not a good way to find nuts, Chirpy. Get a real job. Your parents are worried.
Camera cuts to man in audience wearing a squirrel costume and holding a skateboard as he gives Oliver the middle finger and walks off. Audience gives standing ovation. Yeah, there's a couple different places where people have kind of like boiled down. I mean, it's supposedly just political takes and then the kind of like the same humor each time. But
I do not like that Ted Cruz man. I do not like him in a van.
I think we're
I would
on.
not kiss his smelly ass.
I think we're all on record as saying that Jon Stewart's actually talented, like real humor through and through. Like, yeah. But then still just like a political hack. Like, where are the absolute political hacks? I mean, every single one there's like the old meme of like all the late night television hosts who all have the exact same political views and all the exact same side of everything. Like, there's a couple right-wing political hacks, but nobody's that huge of fans of them. There's a couple sort of right-wing political people.
You could say Crowder, but like
who's a major
I don't call him
comedy
a
fan of
comedian.
Crowder?
Well, yeah, nobody like he calls himself a comedian, but he's just not. I don't think anybody really thinks he's funny.
There's DePaulo, who only kind of like recently became super political. But I mean, there's some people you could say just ever so slightly like lean that direction who are still funny, but not really. But the straight up politics and comedy, that's a left wing thing. And I don't know. I got over it 12 years ago. I don't know how long ago, but
like what the closest thing to a genuinely funny conservative bent comedy show would have been Dennis Miller, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like Kate, because to be fair and unfair all in one go. Back when I used to perversely listen to 10,000 hours of Christian talk radio, there was like the Christian talk radio attempt at like the comedy hour, and it was bad. It was so bad. So I don't count that. But yeah, I think Dennis Miller is the closest thing. But like Dennis Miller, like, and it's none of the conservatism that like Dennis Miller's stuff was all the kind of conservatism that you can find quotes of Obama and Schumer and Clinton and everybody saying at some time or another, like, no, like we can't just let any immigrant in, that kind of stuff.
Did you guys ever watch Dennis Miller do Monday Night Football?
Yeah, I did.
Not good. Like the sword of Damocles, like he'd reference the sword of Damocles.
The funniest thing he ever said on Monday Night Football was that wide receiver was running towards the end zone like an American company after NAFTA.
Yeah, no, he was too smart for football. That's for damn sure.
I read both of his books. I rent
Did you
and
really?
I ran for There I Am. Yeah, I got them from the library.
I don't know. I just, if I think of Dennis Miller, I just think of Norm.
I guess you could say Adam Carolla. Does he count as a conservative?
Yeah.
And I
he
like
does.
Adam Carolla, but man,
Yeah.
that show he made was dog shit.
Like, and here's one of the weirdest things, like, because Adam Carolla is a conservative voice, right?
But
And in
he's
the
funnier
90s
when he's not doing
Yeah,
doing
he's
politics too.
He's
Yeah,
not
that's true.
good when
Yeah.
he's doing. I wish he
No,
would.
but also just think about this, because like he was the guy who did Loveline, and he swore, and he was totally fine with gays, and like, I mean, that's just amazing, because like in the 90s, if you asked like a typical Mormon, like if you asked a Mormon bishop to listen to 30 minutes of Carolla, they would have called him the most liberal, radical leftist imaginable, right? Like he's telling people, like telling girls, like, look, if you're going to be sexually active, wear birth control. That's a fucking leftist. Wear birth control. Use birth control. That's a leftist position, right? Like it's okay to be gay. That's a leftist position, right? Like, but all he said was like, no, you're responsible for your actions, fuckhead. That's what makes him like. That's his conservative position, is that you are ultimately responsible for your choices.
Yeah, and he kind of stands by that little thing of like saying like, well, I used to be kind of considered liberal, but then the whole liberal party ran away from me type deal. But
Yeah, no, I mean that kind of happened. Like Overton window wise, like, because here's the thing, like it's fair. He has not shifted since the 90s. Like not in any radical way. Like Adam Carolla has been 1,000 times more consistent in his politics than say Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, right? Like over 30 years almost, Adam Carolla has been saying the same shit the whole time. And yet Overton window wise, he's gone from a leftist radical to a far right wacko.
Pockets.
What?
Oh, someone brought up Gaffigan.
Pockets.
Like, let's do more product advertising, everyone. Let me switch over.
Diarrhea pockets.
I want to endorse root beer ice cream. This show.
Actually, my wife was
There we
like
go.
religiously against puking during her pregnancy, and she made it quite a long time until we were listening to Jim Gaffigan talk about Subway tuna.
Oh no!
She's just in the kitchen, we're listening to Jim Gaffigan's special, and he's saying something about, it's not even like meat, and there's just like this white water everywhere, and they soak up that tuna water in your sentence. I just hear in there.
Yeah,
you're killing me. That's fun. That's too funny. But yeah, I wanted to mention something Risto brought up. I read the Desert News every day. I love local politics. National politics, I just feel like I'm a speck of dust on top of a pond piece. There's nothing that really matters. But I read City Weekly cover to cover. I love Desert News. And then like I'll watch like KUTV just to like, so I get like just like a variety, I guess you would say.
Local politics.
Yeah, like but
See, this is where we differ.
I don't know. I actually made I got a little notebook out.
I live in downtown Salt Lake
I don't
City.
want to hijack the show.
I live in downtown. No, I want to see your notebook, but I live in downtown Salt Lake City, and like I have no voice in local politics. My mayor and city council are entirely leftist dingbats that every year put out a statement reinforcing a sexist and racist conspiracy theory. And I have watched homelessness double in my neighborhood. What? Which one? But and that's things like, do you think they give a fuck about what I say? Like, that's things like one of my city councilmen, like I used to smoke pot with him at parties. I know exactly how stupid he is.
I'm gonna defend all the Democrats right now. Like, I'm just
Look, I love them too. They're just full of shit.
And I might know who you're talking about, and I know that one of them is really fun to watch soccer with, and he loves to drink. And
No,
he's,
he hasn't been in. It's been 10 years since he was elected.
oh, well, he was a lot of fun. To
No,
spend
I'm
time
not
with.
talking about him. Well,
Okay, but yeah,
well,
like I
no,
understand
hang
because
on
I've
a
gone to
second.
these parties
Hang on a
too.
second.
and
I am talking about him after all. I wasn't.
No, I've gone to these
talking
parties
about
too.
him.
You know, and it's funny, like the two gayest,
Sorry, there's
most
two
gay
councilmen
Democrats.
that I've smoked pot with at parties.
The two gayest Democrats I know, they don't like each other, and
Well,
and it's just like, guys, come on. And I'm not gonna say who they are, but like, it's like infighting is bad, and like Republicans have infighting, and I'm like, oh yeah, bring it on, like,
well,
you
they're
know.
not
And then like when
infighting.
like you always get more mad, upset with your own children, and it's like,
But
can't you
there's
just
no
like, can't we
infighting.
all just get along, like, you
Every
know?
year they speak in perfect unison when they reinforce their devotion to a sexist and racist conspiracy theory. Like every year they put out a statement saying we are sexist and racist and we are motivated by our beliefs.
So wait, hang on.
in
What's the theory? I
falsified-
don't know.
Just woke shit. Systemic racism. America is systemically racist. Homeless are there because of capitalism. Like just the usual.
So I have some videos. I have
Like,
some videos that I was going to get to, but we're having
feminist
discussions.
bullshit. Like
And-
just the usual crap.
Some of those videos are they're TikTok videos of kind of leftist circular firing squads, and I announced it in like the show notes. But there's this TikToker named, it's like Mo Sharino Dorito. Have you seen that guy, Jared?
No.
He was a guy. He was one of the guys that I pulled up who was able to break down the Kendrick Lamar versus what's his name rapping thing. So he's like way into that world. But the guy got canceled last week because right after that shooting video that we talked about of that black woman with the boiling pot, he came out and said, "And now you guys are going to vote for a cop." And what's wrong with you Democrats or something like that. And so he got completely canceled because he was not supposed to, like, basically his channel was like lost like all his followers. I've watched some people like go through the stats of it and all that sorts of stuff because he was generally leftist, but he said the wrong thing and he thought it was the right thing because they were supposed to be against cops and all that sorts of stuff. But then they're voting Kamala in right here, who's like the ultimate cop, who kind of has a record of doing some things like keeping some people in prison longer than they were supposed to be in prison for her own benefit. The guy got completely canceled for it because now he's not supposed to say anything wrong about the holy black woman in it who's running for office, which is one of the things that, you know, Glenn Greenwald calls it kind of like weaponized DEI. Like, we're going to put something up here that's so sacrosanct nobody can even critique it. That guy who got canceled then came out on some videos afterwards trying to show the whole world that, like, no, look, I've read Kimberly Crenshaw. I've read he put out just like a bunch of books of what was the lady we were just saying, Robin DiAngelo. I've read these books, and they turn around, like turn on him and say, "Oh, now you're lecturing us. You're lecturing us on our black academics and all that sorts of stuff." And he got further canceled. The same sort of thing happened with another lady who is pro Gaza. She's on the TikToks. And she's some writer. Her name's like Lynn or something like that. And she came out and called out some other black creator for not having a strong enough stance against Gaza, which ostensibly gets cheered and cheered and cheered if they catch like some perhaps white person who hasn't properly genuflected against the state of Israel or something like that. But now she's called out a black creator for not doing it well enough. And this person turned around and got canceled. And then she gave an apology, and then the apology wasn't good enough. And then there's all these different videos of creators who come out and say, watch this. Now you're going to watch white feminism in action because she's going to come out and justify herself. And then she gives out a video. Look, I showed you. She did justify. She tried to justify her position, all this sorts of stuff. And it becomes such an infinite cesspool of you cannot be right. You cannot be proper. You cannot speak ill of the holy, beloved, sacred.
Have you seen George Takei's? Have you seen George Takei's Twitter lately? That's literally all it is ever.
I unfollowed him like 4.5 years ago. No,
oh man, it's terrible. His bio it says, "I am a parody of myself," and I'm like, I'm sure that's the criticism that you get the most and that's why you're joking about it. But no, it's seriously all shit. Like, we need to just trust in Kamala's pick. He's talking about like her VP pick. We need to not have any we need to not have any criticisms about her pick. I'm like,
but inside of like those TikTok videos of people criticizing those criticizers who then criticize the criticizers and said they didn't apologize good enough, there's plenty of people who say this is just how it is with the white person who tries to genuflect having the right and proper positions on this sorts of stuff. If we just know sooner or later they're going to reveal their white feminism and all sorts of stuff, and it's just a pile-on. It's not a small pile-on. This was a guy who like lost 1 million viewers and just got destroyed for saying the thing that he thought was right. Under some context, it's ostensibly right to say some naughty thing about cops or something like that, or for that other lady to call out somebody for not being strong enough against Israel. But because they've suddenly turned that thing that they thought was proper towards a holy person of color or something like that, now they just get ripped apart and destroyed. And then all these different creators say, I knew this white person who was faking being good they just showed up and showed their fake white, their whiteness just revealed itself. And how you can like run around like with that side and think that they're being genuine or honest, or not just racking up grievances, just grievance rackers. I mean, that's where we go back to James Lindsay and those guys, the grievance studies, which I went to graduate school to study the grievance studies 10, 15 years ago. It's not imaginary, you know.
Oh, James Lindsay invented it. You're in a Google bubble.
And the fact that they're in a world that spends any time at all ramping and whipping that stuff up. Like Scott Adams was just saying today. Scott Adams was saying today that that's just a non-starter for him. Like, he just can't even look at Christoph Waltz or whatever Waltz. I said Christoph, the Walls guy, because he genuflects to that crap, and it's only a matter of time till he's fully canceled anyway. He just has to signal the wrong way once, and then apologize wrong once he gets in trouble for it. So.
By the way, apologies. The Cultural Hall is in the comments, and Cultural Hall misidentified us as conservative, and he publicly corrected himself and apologized. Props. Holy shit. What a rare, refreshing thing. And like, you know, and we've shit on Culture. We won't do it again right now. We did it in the past. We won't do it now. But like, I just like, dude, like, I just like, there's a whole man, like, if only 1 in 10 of the rest of the people that owe us apology would just do that. But like, no, but like, genuinely, yeah, you got us wrong. Like, fucking Divas
I wouldn't
smeared
feel
me
too bad about it
4 or 5 times in this show, and I'm just like, and I even said like, hey, look, Culture did it. Look, here it is. Culture did it. This is how you do it. You said something about me that's not true. Just correct it. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, Culture. I think Culture in general is fairly honest, and I give a pass for when you're doing comedy. I mean, you can be hyperbolic when you're doing comedy and that sort of stuff, and you can tell when it's a switch to comedy and when it's being honest. But I noticed that Culture on Divas' show, he'll give like fair takes, you know, and stuff like you're talking about that the church does some good over in the Philippines or something like that. And I just never have gotten in the ex-Mormon world why it's helpful at all in any way to just not admit to some of the stuff. Like, well, sometimes they do good stuff. Like, that doesn't turn around and make it so that it's for sure true.
Well,
that you know.
So you committed a sin there, Culture, in that video. You said that you would vote for a Republican that was reasonable. I just don't think that's
Risto, I like Risto's comment. Wait, am I the only conservative here? And it's just kind of funny. It's like, well, apparently the most conservative person in our audience married a Cambodian immigrant. So that's how far right our show is. We're just that kind of show where our most conservative member is a thoughtful Protestant who married an immigrant.
Yeah, I just don't really care if people call me conservative anymore. It doesn't bug me. I'm just
Chris Hanna said, like, I have to admit, like, I'm conservative in that I believe in conserving the liberal values.
I'm conservative
that I
for
believe
liberalism.
in. I'm conservative for liberalism. That's what makes me conservative. The Overton talking about like Adam Carolla, the window has shifted that far, that that
It's just the Robert Conquest shit, you know.
There's
you have to be conservative. That's one of the things we were talking about. Like, what does a normie know or not know? You understand that to certain types of left wing or critical race theory types, MLK, like you have to be conservative to keep MLK. MLK's out, and it's a conservative position to say no. I'm going to roll with MLK still.
Yeah,
I'm
going to tell the kids that
there's some things to be conservative about, but
I will tell the kids that like when they learn in school about the horrible things that Martin Luther King did, I will say those aren't the things we value. We value the "I have a dream" speech. We don't value the thing where the FBI recorded him laughing as a black man sexually assaulted a prostitute. We don't value that part. We value the part about "I have a dream," that stuff.
Hell yeah.
Oh, sleepy time. I'm going to San Francisco tomorrow.
Yay, San Francisco.
Who's got ideas for what I should do on Sunday in San Francisco?
Go to the Wharf, Market Street, Giants game if you can. I know you could care less about baseball.
No, I would actually. I mean, in principle, I would totally be down with the Giants game, but there's no way to hold that off between. I mean, I have Sunday. I have basically Sunday.
One day. Yeah. Eat a lot of food.
See, here's the thing. This is the minor conundrum there. We'll have to see, because I'm flying into San Francisco tomorrow, but I'm just getting in the car and driving up north. Sunday is San Francisco Day, and it's with my kid. And the thing is, my kid is not an adventurous eater. And we're going to be in one of the top world food towns. So we'll have to see. I don't know. Because the thing about my kid is that he was raised in the UK. And when I ask him what he likes a thing they call Mexican food, which they call it that. There's a place in Southern England. There's a chain called La Mexicano. It's just place.
Yeah, definitely get him some bomb Mexican food, and then
you want to know what's crazy? That place where supposedly Biden had some sort of issue in Las Vegas, Bonito, Michoacan, is my favorite Mexican restaurant in Vegas, and that's supposedly kind of the place that something happened with Biden, and then he vanished and disappeared, and everybody thought he was dead on the right and stuff like that, and then they went and suddenly what do they call it? Palace cooed him, but he was at Bonito, Michoacan, which is my favorite place in Mexico, and then you get a free meal there if you can say the word "parangari cutirimicuaro," and I can say that, and I'd go in there and I'd say it to them, and they'd be like, "What?" And then they'd give me parangari cutirimicuaro. Parangari cutirimicuaro.
You're gonna do a moonlight tour of Alcatraz?
It's Nuevo San Juan Parangari. Wait, Parangari Kuturu. Parangari Kuturu. Parangari Kuturu. Wait, what's the demonym? What is the demonym for Parang?
Learn the word and go to Bonito, Michoacan, which is the last place Biden was the president, and say Parangari Cutirimicuaro, and you can get a free one. Anyway, I wanted to ask. There was a couple things I want to talk about. I always want to talk about London and the stuff going on there, but maybe we can skip that up. Although Flip's going to become a Londoner, but later, Coach. The Jared, I wanted a. First, I don't know if Flip's got any booze corner, but Jared, I think you kind of got a Degenerate book review, but it might be a Degenerate TV show review with
talk about Batman.
The Batman series. Hold on a second.
I only kind of got to follow that. But that was funny shit.
That was okay.
Look at this. I even got this. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Okay, so which group did I share all that in? Was that in the Jonathan one or the
I don't know
Kwaku one? Okay, so I haven't watched the whole thing, but I watched like 5 episodes. Because have you watched any of it at all?
No, and I shall not be.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna roll off of what
Well,
a
I had
grapist
started.
claims.
So this is, you guys always talk about like Ninja Turtles and shit like that, but our Ninja Turtles, my generation's Ninja Turtles, that was the 90s Batman animated series. That's like the pinnacle of our cartoon. And I was rewatching a bit of it with my kid the other day, and it's great. It holds up. It's got awesome shit. But the so I tried this one out. Very first thing it does, it has more race and gender swaps than Mindy Kaling's Scooby Doo or her Velma series. Like it's not as like cynical and it's not totally shitting on the source material, but so you got Penguin is a woman, and
yay!
Oh yeah, and she, you know, she looks as gross as, I know, that's what everybody's been calling for. She looks just as gross as male Penguin, but like she has this sultry, seductive voice that just feels really fucking out of place. You know, like she sound like, if you heard her voice, you'd be like, oh yeah, she's gonna seduce me or whatever. But nope, she's disgusting. And let me think, who else was there? Because there's Asian Harley Quinn.
Did you watch the whole season?
Who is a strong? No, not yet. I think I watched like 5 episodes. So one of the main characters is there's this fat Latina who has a crush on Harley Quinn, who is therapizing Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne punches a guy in public trying to maintain his Bruce Wayne persona. He gets mandated to see a therapist, and the therapist is Harley Quinn. It's before she's Harley Quinn, and she's Asian and she's gay. Put a chick in it, make a layman gay. And they did that a couple times. And she starts. It's funny because she starts like therapizing Bruce Wayne, and she's like totally just pushing through his exterior in ways that he didn't expect her to, you know. And it's like, this fucking Batman, okay? Nobody makes Batman wince, except the time the Flash gave him that letter from his dad after he traveled back in time. Anyway. Then the main detective is this fat Latina, and she asks Harley Quinn out, so they're kind of dating a little bit, but they're also best friends with Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, who's not yet Batgirl, but she's black, and so is Commissioner Gordon. So that's like the 5th race swap in a row. And they're all 3 girl power couples. The only person other than Bruce, Alfred, also fat, who's like the master of about 1,000 different martial arts and like routinely fights bad guys to defend the Batcave or whatever. And then you get to who's the last one? Oh yeah, Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent. He is so in Velma you have the only one that wasn't race swapped was Fred, but he was turned into a tiny dick douchebag. That's Harvey Dent. So pre Two-Face, Harvey Dent's like a good guy. He's the district attorney. And he's like very moral. Not this Harvey Dent. He's a piece of shit, and he's like trying to put people in jail. And Barbara Gordon is.
Do you think when he gets the second face, that second face will be the good guy?
No, they're just both bad because he's white. he's a white guy. They're just both going to be terrible. Like and you're going to find out that his dick is small too at some point.
No way.
I don't know, but probably.
Is he getting paid and getting laid?
No, he's like trying to put people in jail for like way longer than they need to for things that they were coerced into. And Barbara Gordon is the plucky attorney, which I don't think Barbara Gordon was ever an attorney. Maybe somebody who knows Batman better than me would know that. But like, she's a tech wizard and Batgirl. But anyway, so that's all I've watched so far. And it's just kind of disarmingly stupid in a couple ways.
Hooray, Batman! Flip, do you have it? What's your booze right now?
I drank it all already, but it was
Degenerate. Degenerate Buttman Corner.
It was delicious Beaujolais from Fleury in Beaujolais. It was discounted wine, but really nice. It's a good summertime red. Gamay is the lightest of the red grapes. So it's a
Do I
really
not
good red
have-
wine for summertime. Yeah, I see you flipping through everything.
I don't have a flip wine one on here.
Yeah, keep the
How'd I do
boobs
that?
up.
Gone.
I accidentally deleted it.
But yeah, no,
No, it's in there. It should be in there. What the hell?
I'm still not sure. Like, because I land in San Francisco tomorrow. Like, plane lands at 1:00 local time, and then oh, by the way, like this is how much of a stereotypical right wing leftist maniac I am. I paid an extra $100 to rent a Tesla. At least we'll see. Like that's what it bugs me is it says Tesla or similar. I'm like, how many things are similar?
You're gonna get a Prius.
Yeah, I wonder, but like no, but supposedly it's all electrics. It's all California bullshit, and like I'm a little bit nervous. I talked to some people because I'm like I have that charge anxiety. Like,
whoa, yeah, wait. What's the Buttigieg defense for the charging stations? Wasn't he supposed to like get like 800 of those up, and they've gotten like 7 or something?
Well,
I just heard about this the other day. I don't know anything about it. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of.
I'm sure it is bureaucracy.
Red tape. I can tell you all about the red tape and bureaucracy I have to deal with.
I believe that red tape and
get a Toyota Sienna.
No. I work with the government too, so I understand that it's entirely red tape.
I believe that red tape and bureaucracy are major problems, but I think a little bit of the problem is also reality. Just that, like, we do not. Okay, here's the thing: if we all want to drive electric cars, that's a great idea. We have to go nuclear as fast as possible, and then we can have electric cars. But you can't have You can't have stop
producing coal plants.
Yeah, you can't have stop petro energy and let's go electric and fuck nuclear. These there's no future there. Like that's a dead end. So like that's like my thing is like we either like because that thing's like if everybody's like okay we're going nuclear and we're going electric cars, okay, makes perfect sense. But we're going to fuck around. What? Hydrogen is a dead end. Hydrogen is not good. Transporting, like, I don't know. I've been listening to the whole hydrogen argument. Like, I'm just some dumb guy. I'm just some dumb guy. But I've been listening to Skeptic's Guide and Palantir Mechanics and
you gotten back into Skeptic's Guide?
Not even that, but like Sabina Hassenfelder, whatever it is, just a couple weeks ago. Hydrogen makes some sense in very specialized, highly localized applications. But storing and transporting hydrogen is such a gigantic pain in the ass that it just is not a viable energy solution for what we're talking about. And one way we know that is that they have been calling it the future for 30 years. And the whole time, a few people have been saying storage and transportation is a problem. And it's remained a problem. No, but like that's the whole thing. It's like no, nuclear power. If we go nuclear, then we can go electric, and that's
what they need to do with nuclear is they need to get thorium reactors up and running.
I don't know anything about that except that Thunderfoot says thorium is a dead end. But
I'd have to look it up a little bit more. If it weren't a dead end, that would be great because it's about 1,000,000 times more plentiful than uranium.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. There's my thing. So yeah, but Gamay, Beaujolais. Beaujolais is really nice because it's so Burgundy in central France, the Côte d'Or, like where Pinot Noir, Burgundy, like it's if there's any place in the world that is like the world's center of red wine culture, it's Burgundy. And just to the south of it is a little place called Beaujolais. And for ages and ages, they've grown a grape called Gamay. And Gamay used to be a Burgundy grape, and then for various reasons that I don't understand, it kind of fell out of favor. But it's considered like it's coming back. But it makes really nice, really interesting fruity wines. It's kind of weird, but like if you taste a proper Beaujolais, and then you have to be a child of a certain age. But if you remember Bubba Hubba grape chewing gum from the 80s. Like Beaujolais get that kind of bubble gum aroma and flavor to them, which like it. I mean, it sounds goofy when you're talking about wine, but it's actually really nice. Yeah, but mine's all gone, but I really liked it a lot. But and then the other thing that's fun about Beaujolais is they've got this thing that's kind of a marketing thing. It's a little bit of a Hallmark Valentine's thing, but it's more fun because Valentine's is just bullshit where you spend money on flowers for women, and Beaujolais Nouveau Day, you at least get to drink wine. But they intentionally make and market young wines. Like Beaujolais Nouveau is by French law released on the third Thursday of November. And the whole point is that it's a celebration of the new crop. Like traditionally, the winemakers would all get together, drink the new wine, and then evaluate it for its aging potential. But then as a marketing thing, they said, like, well, let's just make this into a big party, and we'll all drink young wine for fun. And so young Beaujolais Nouveau like tends to be like, it's really like cranberry, really tart. Like it's wine before it's aged. If you drink it, it tells you why you age wine. But it happens to be really like just a dumb coincidence because it comes out the same time as Thanksgiving in America. By dumb coincidence, it's just really great with Thanksgiving dinner because it has a very like tart cranberry kind of flavor to it. But that's the Beaujolais Nouveau. But properly aged Beaujolais are really nice. Like especially like this is a problem I run into a lot, which is I have a longing for really nice Burgundy, but I don't have the money for really nice Burgundy. And Beaujolais gives you that kind of Pinot Noir feel without having to throw all the money at real Burgundy. But that'll be my booze corner for today.
Yay!
I probably better get out of here soon. This delay is killing me, and I'm tired.
Happy birthday, Jared.
Thank you, sir.
Happy birthday.
I'm going to try to stay up as late as I can playing video games and drinking shitty vodka that would make Flip angry.
Which video
That was
game?
my divorce. That
What video game?
Promote passion fruit.
An old Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, that's right. You're trying to catch up on one of those or something.
Good old
I
single player
tried
offline
playing
games.
Yeah, it's always that's all it is for me. I don't do online. It just bugs me. I was playing the Mirage. It's the one that came out last year, and it's fun. It's not great. It was supposed to be DLC. Assassin's Creed hasn't been great for quite a while. I don't know. I don't know. Black Flag was the best one.
It's nice to have a single player offline game when you have a long, stressful day at work, or just you just want to unwind and have like for me, it's Cursed to Golf.
Yeah,
it's just this, like easy Switch like game that you can just pause at any time, and I can like play fetch with my puppy, and then like shoot, like take a shot, and then go back to playing fetch with my puppy.
Have you ever played Golf Story? Have you played Golf Story on
I played a little bit of Golf Story and I couldn't get into it. One of my friends since junior high gave me his Switch password, so I have access to his library, and I played a little bit of it. I think I'll go back to it one day, but right now, Cursed to Golf is my go-to casual single player offline game.
I will casually play some Mario Golf, but
Mario Golf.
Yeah,
that's what we play in the backyard. We put up a 120-inch projector.
Oh,
and
nice.
I play Mario Golf and Switch Sports.
Nice.
Cougar wines are like Everclear.
Cougar wines.
Are
young wines low alcohol? Generally, yes. Like, well, so Vinho Verde is the famous young wine of Portugal.
Disgusting.
Vinho literally means green wine, and like, yeah, they are picked a little early, which doesn't leave you with a lot of sugar and a lot of acid. So yeah, they tend to ferment dry at like 8, 9, 10% alcohol. Vinho Verde, I call them picnic wine because they are perfect for a picnic because they are light, crispy, cheap, and you can have them in the afternoon and you don't lose your evening to drunken debauchery.
How was the new Ninja Turtles game, Eric?
Loving it. I beat Bebop and Rocksteady, and that's the latest and greatest I can report.
Does it have a single player offline, or is it all?
Yeah,
online?
it's single player offline, and then to play online with friends, you have to give them a friend code. So there's no hooking up with strangers. Like, you have to know someone. So if anyone wants to find me on Reddit, and help me beat this game. But I've been playing it with my oldest brother and his best friend. And then Sunday, I'm having one of my roommates, my former roommates, come over, and our friend Matt. And I think we have a 4-player team, but I forgot all who's coming over. but we're gonna get like 4 of us together, like me and 3 other people, to try and beat it. So wish us luck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I'm getting out of here. You guys have
Good night,
fun.
Jared.
See you
Have a
guys.
good one. We won't take too much longer. I just updated my Twitter feed, and this is what I got. The Salt Lake Tribune. Never before has a presidential candidate so casually threatened to undo American traditions and process.
The Tribune is such garbage.
It's too cold.
They're calling even Hillary Clinton put out, they're calling Tim Walz Tampon Tim, and
I hate everything.
yeah.
Like like this is really something though. Like, is there a less democratic ticket ever? Like, nobody voted for Kamala Harris.
Like, that's a half truth because she ran. It was the Biden-Harris ticket.
Well,
so that's a half truth.
kind of. Well, sort of. But like the people.
Her name was on the ticket.
Well, I know, but she got tacked on. Like, if it was another name, it would have been the person. But the point is that like people weren't voting. Like, I mean, to be serious,
but they're voting with their dollars right now. Like, people,
sure, but like,
to be
serious, people voting for that ticket because they wanted Kamala, or were they voting?
Like when Joe Biden made his big announcement, the money went through the roof for Harris. Like, and then Tim's bringing in money too. People are voting with their dollars, and it's individuals, not just Silicon Valley billionaires.
I just mean, like, I don't know. It's just.
But I mean, there's always. I mean, it's been for several years now. I think people are more animated to vote against Trump than to vote for anybody.
Right. And I'm an issues guy. Like, personality does count, and I believe personality should count. But like issues and personality, I'll admit both. But as far as issues go, yeah, all the way. Like,
I think that Trump is a gigantic turd. Like, I don't think he's a good person, but like, I think he would be fun to be around.
I
don't feel that way about Kamala.
Maybe in the 80s when he was filming Home Alone 2.
Like, dude, can you imagine? Imagine like if you were.
But I never thought in my entire life that the guy from Home Alone 2, like Donald Trump,
beer and soccer with
you're
Donald
thinking
Trump
Gerald
or
Ford.
Kamala
You're
Harris.
thinking Gerald Ford, you eat nachos? Yes, Mr. President.
No, I'm not thinking
Donald Trump would have been fun in the 80s. Like, Donald Trump would have been fun in the 80s. Like, who would have thought that Donald Trump was going to be the poster boy for white trash?
Would you rather, like, okay, you have to drink beer, eat chicken wings, and watch soccer with Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? You're telling me
watch UFC with Dana White.
You're telling me you don't pick Trump. Fuck all politics. Fuck everything. You're telling me you don't pick Trump.
No, he's a creep. And
no,
I would do all of that with Dana White. I would do all of that, but we'd watch UFC. Because I would much rather watch mixed martial arts.
This is the thing that I know that, like, this is one of the things we're always banging on about. It's like, because we're totally fine with people who don't like Trump. We just don't understand how anybody isn't just completely skeeved out by a fucking piece of shit like Kamala Harris. She blew her way into her job. She's stupid. She's fucking retarded. She's genuinely a dumb person. Everything she's done has been hypocritical, opportunistic. She fucking put black, non-violent drug offenders into long-term prison sentences. Everything about her is just pure shit. And you're telling me that you'd still rather watch soccer with her than Trump?
I would watch soccer with Pete Buttigieg because
he wouldn't watch. He's gay.
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
I watch. You're metrosexual if you like soccer.
That's true.
Or for that matter, if you watch soccer, you're automatically metrosexual. Or if you own an electric car, you're metrosexual. It's just one of those things. You're not gay. You're just an opportunist. No,
does it bug you at all that Kamala Harris talks to everyone as though she's talking to a retarded person?
Look, I really don't care because I live in Utah and like.
No, that's not a cop. Let's pretend
But,
let's pretend there was no electoral college. Let's pretend there was no electoral college. One man, one vote. Never mind that.
Okay.
Does it bother you? Like, here's the thing. It
Not
bothers
really,
me
'cause
that
I like
Trump
her
lies
policy.
about stuff all the time.
But like
I'm not even a
policy
Trump
and issues,
supporter.
I'm the
I'm not
policy and
even
issues over personality, and that's like
I'm
the
not
Trump
even
argument,
voting.
right?
I'm not even. I did not, would not, will not vote for Trump. But his personal style bugs me. Does Kamala's style bother you at all?
No.
Stunning.
I genuinely don't understand that, Eric. Like
here's the thing. She
I
doesn't
get why the
people-
left.
people like-
Because I think my
people
parents
like
just have this
imitate-
like aesthetic disgust for Trump that they just can't get over. No matter what you ever talk to them about, like what the actual policies are, they're just not going to get over that aesthetic disgust.
I get that,
and I totally get that they're just there and they're going to feel that. But in general, I mean, they'd have to see how the other side sees like Kamala Harris as somebody who is just like the epitome of government bureaucracy getting put into place, getting moved up, not really having like the merit or the talent to do it, and then just having this attitude and behavior like she's just some kind of school marm. She's a school marm. And how do you not get like by a school? She's Professor Umbridge on crack who has a laugh that irritates. And I get the disgust for Trump. I mean, Trump's just like obviously the American. I mean, he's a walking Baudrillardian hyper-real example of what an American
unironic Dana
Trump
White. Like Dana White is doing a show. Donald Trump is unironically Dana White.
But I do not get how like people just don't see the school marminess of both Hillary and her, and Biden just as a career shit politician. And I don't see anybody who doesn't give you cause for aesthetic disgust who makes it to that level of politics in this world.
Did you guys see the news today from the BBC?
Did we see what?
There's news from the BBC. Let's see if I can find it again.
So Chris, to answer your question, I'm kind of in that, like, you know how Trump are like, well, his policies, you know, and that's how I'm like with Harris. I'm like, well, her policies, like, it's like everything you said was valid, and I can't argue any of that.
So I know a lot of people who are like, Trump disgusts me, but I think that side's better than the other side, and I like the policies of that side. But they'll still say, but yeah, he's you. And you hear that all over on the right, even though it gets painted on the left as if they all view him as the God Emperor and that sorts of stuff. But you hear all sorts of people who hold their nose and vote for the guy, as Jacob Hansen, a guy who we cover a whole lot, says, I'm voting for a guy to be my plumber, not to be my, pastor or my daddy or something like that. And but yeah, I find him reprehensible on certain levels personally. But on the left, it's like there has to be this level. I mean, I've seen some people say, "Ew, it's a cop," and I don't like a cop, and I don't like politicians, but I'm going to vote for Kamala anyway. And I see that sort of thing. But on average, it's mostly just people saying, "Woo boy!" Everything.
Here it is. U.S. prosecutors say Romanian businessman hired Hunter Biden to seek U.S. policy influence.
Oh yeah,
that's the news today. That's recent news.
But I mean,
you sure wouldn't want to vote for the crook.
Well, he's not in there anymore.
But did we just learn that he was a crook, or have we known that the whole goddamn time?
I haven't liked Joe Biden since 2003.
Did you vote for him? No, you
no.
voted.
I live in Utah. I
no, okay, Eric.
I did not vote for Joe Biden. I did not vote. I voted for Obama twice. I voted for Obama twice. I did not vote for Joe Biden. I could not find a close big enough to vote for Joe Biden because in 2003 I was in the streets protesting the war of the illegal invasion and occupation of Iraq.
Just to tell you, like the Utah thing is not an answer. Like I'm asking you about your position. Like I said,
but I didn't vote for Joe Biden.
Pretend we didn't live with an electoral college. Like pretend that your vote really just mattered. One vote. And stop saying I live in Utah because that's not an excuse for voting for a shitty person.
I didn't vote for Joe Biden.
I know. You told me you already voted for Pete Buttigieg. But I mean, like, at least, like, I don't know. Because here's the other thing. It's like, so for example, leftists always bring out the fact that the right hypocritically does not hold Donald Trump to traditional conservative values. And that is 1,000% valid. It's true. Conservative Christians that talk about how much they value things like sexual purity, who vote for Donald Trump, are being hypocritical. Now, you can talk to them, they'll cop to it. But, like, I can't get fucking Democrats to cop to, yeah, we know we're voting for a fucking piece of shit crook.
Look,
I'll caveat. I've seen a couple.
Perfect.
I've seen a couple say that.
All right. Yeah.
She's not perfect. I don't see eye to eye with her on all the issues. I'm not gonna talk trash on Harris. I don't see eye to eye with her. I don't agree 100%.
What specifically do you disagree with her about?
What do I disagree with her on?
The specific policy issue that you disagree with.
I'm not gonna talk trash on Harris. Like, let me write.
You might convince a Utah to vote against.
No, I'm not gonna talk trash on Harris, and I'm not gonna talk.
Tell you what I
trash on
disagree.
Trump.
No, I'm talking about policy, just simple policy.
I'm not gonna talk trash on either one of them. But like,
you're not gonna speak ill of the Lord's anointed, is what you're saying.
no, I'm not gonna speak ill because I just like I can't stress this enough. I care about local politics. Like we can, and I can. I have to be careful.
Okay, then let's talk about local politics.
Let's talk about local politics. I have to be really careful what I say.
The Salt Lake County government,
because I work for them,
is crap. The Salt Lake City government pushes sexist, racist conspiracy theories, and they're crap.
I feel bad for you. I live in Murray. Murray's awesome.
There is human shit in downtown Salt Lake City. Like, I've lived here my whole life.
I remember
in the 90s, one of my first jobs, I worked in the airport. Snack bar, and I would always ask people, "What do you think of Salt Lake City?" And it was funny. They always said two things. One of the things they said is, "Man, the women here have great hair." Like true Mormons, fucking Mormon chicks, man. They don't show their shoulders, but they take care of their hair. And then the other thing they would always say is, "It's so clean, and you have so few homeless." No, not anymore. There was a giant pile of human poo behind the dumpster at work. There are two. In fact, this morning I was walking out to work, and in my head I was writing a little song, and I don't remember the melody, but it was something about like, my apartment staircase only has two smells. My apartment staircase only has two smells, and the smells are the urinal at Yankee Stadium and bleach. Those are the two smells of my apartment staircase, because I live in downtown Salt Lake City, and the fucking homeless use my staircase as a fucking urinal and a shittery, and my entirely leftist government keeps telling me they're fixing it with their compassion. They're compassionately fixing it, and then they say that America is systemically racist. Fuck them. They're such shit.
So, like, to talk about like conservatism and whatnot and what you're conserving, I always like to draw from Roger Scruton, who is a famous conservative theorist, and he said the day he became conservative is when he was in London at some point in the 60s, and he saw some sorts of people rioting and raging and stuff, and he said, "How am I conservative? I'm not that." You know, he just saw that and he said, "I'm not that," and that's like the level of things that I have felt as I've seen the left just kind of go off the deep end on certain sides. And I know they say that like the MAGA stuff and the MAGA people go off the deep end the other way. There's some issues that like perhaps they get bonky and wild. But to me, and even going back to like college and all that sorts of stuff, one of the things that for sure drove me off the ledge the other way, and I actually think there's a little bit of a correction going on with this right now, but it's maybe a little bit too little too late, is just how much overt like political lying, and then not just lying, that they had the media's help with it in certain areas for things that you could just verify the other direction very easily, and just rolling with it for years on stuff like that, and just straight face saying it. Like for me, the weird thing comes up, and I find that refreshing, because they're just back to saying like, "Hey, you're weird," and I can't falsify the "Hey, you're weird" thing, and it works, and it's good, and it's political stuff, it's political theater. I disagree with it, but it trumps entirely the whole entire Russiagate for 6, 7, 8 years, as then they say that Russiagate was a coup. It was a coup held, created by people inside of the government to thwart Trump, and it was a complete lie done with FISA abuse and all this sorts of stuff, and just the ways it was lied about, and then just kind of, oh, okay, well, we're going to get off that now. The real thing that kind of turned me around was the lying that was done about Kavanaugh, who I don't even like. But that's also the place where Breitbart turned around because he was upset about the lies that were happening about Clarence Thomas. And there's just like a level of it where you hit this point where you're like, I think you guys can make great points against the other side, but you choose the lying ones. So I go like, why? Like this whole time, you should have been able to easily argue against Trump honestly. And you chose the lies. Like, why? Why?
I remember more than 10 years ago on the classic John Larson Mormon expression saying this exact thing about Joseph Smith, where there is so much to indict Joseph Smith on that is evidentiarily unassailable. Why are you gonna fucking make shit up about him? Just stick to the facts.
We just had a guy on War Radio who was inventing.
And I remember saying that about Donald Trump in 2016.
He used ChatGPT to invent racist quotes by Brigham Young.
Yeah, but I
didn't need to do that. You didn't need to invent racist quotes by Brigham Young. Why? Why?
And I remember saying in 2016, making this exact argument, why are you guys making shit up about him? We have all been alive. I remember that Donald Trump was a joke in the 80s. I was just a little kid. What the fuck? But that's the desperation of religious thinking, and we keep seeing it all the time. We see it with Seer Stoner and Maven. This is, and Divas. It's just amazing. That's the thing I was gonna.
When you become activistic and you will not budge for your religiously held belief, or a belief that you didn't rationalize yourself into, you will start pulling wackadoo lies for it. And that's kind of just been the overall thing that we've just tried to look at through this whole entire thing. And
I got a bail here, but
good night, Flip.
No, damn it, what was I about to say? Damn it, I've completely lost my train of thought.
Well, good night. Have fun in San Francisco. I'll let you know if we beat Turtles. I'll keep you updated with all the important news of Ninja Turtles.
Let me know.
Call of Duty Zombies. Just a shout out to Xbox, all the Xbox players out there. Call of Duty Zombies, if you want to find me.
Is that Cursor Golf worth getting?
It's so worth getting, and it goes on sale all the time. So just put it on your wish list and then wait for it for $4.99. But it's $14.99, Brent. Not on sale. But patience is a virtue in the video game world, and you can save a lot of money just by being patient and putting a game on your wish list and then waiting for it to go 50%
Yeah,
off.
I always do that for the Nintendo games, and that's where I'm an idiot because those never go on sale.
Yeah, first party Nintendo games never. $41.99 is the lowest you're gonna get for.
And if something's 60, it's staying 60. It's not budging.
What's that?
If something's 60, it's staying 60. It's not
or $49.99, for the non AAA awesome, massive Tears of the Kingdom games.
The AAA stay up there. I mean, what is if I went and looked at Mario, whatever, right now, the one with the hat, it's still 60.
Mario Odyssey. Yeah. Yep, that's Nintendo for you. Love Nintendo, but they do not put their games on sale like EA and Ubisoft and the indie games. What's nice is I've got 3 months of Ultimate Game Pass for free thanks to Barclays. So I'm cool. What's this Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 Zombies? It's open world. And so that's what my wife and we've been playing. I have an Xbox Series S and an Xbox One, and we've been playing that together because couples that slay together stay together.
Nice. Well, sweet.
Yeah, and then she's been playing Killing Floor 2. We're both patiently waiting for Killing Floor 3.
Killing Floor?
Yeah, Killing Floor 2 is one of the absolute most fun online player versus environment co-op. It's simple, it's fun. Like, it is my very first platinum trophy on PlayStation.
Oh, is this like a first-person shooter?
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter. It's you against zombies, like zombie-infected undead.
Yeah, I just suck at first person. It's not my first-person shooters are not my thing. So
no, okay, then definitely not for you. It's like I have yet to get a PS5. I'm waiting for
me too.
the
I've been
PS5
waiting.
Pro to come out, and then I'm gonna I know they're not gonna make a Helldivers 2 edition, but I'm hoping that like Christmas Helldivers 2 like will have servers that are available that I don't have to queue up for, and I can just play Helldivers 2 with Flip till an hour and a half past my bedtime every night.
Nice. Yeah, I've been trying. I went to the store a couple times to get a PS5, and they weren't there, and that was a while back. So
Clayton was able to find a digital PS5 Spider-Man 2 edition for $3.99 at Smith's Marketplace.
Wow.
Yeah, and he still hasn't played Spider-Man 2. And I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you?
Well, I've been wanting to play the Hogwarts to give Troy my review of it, because I was definitely like a Harry Potter fan, and I know the Harry Potter series and stuff, and I want to play it and see and run around that whole world. And I'm also a big sandbox type game fan. I just haven't gotten it. So, but there's like 3 or 4 games on the PS5. I mean, I'd be tied up for 2 years if I go and get it, because I'd have to do Elden Ring all the way through. I'd have to Hogwarts all the way through. I'd probably do the God of War. I mean, I've played every God of War except the most recent one. Yeah, so I'd be stuck. I'd be like, I mean, it takes me a long time to get through games, so I'd be buried for a couple years as soon as I get it. So, but
good night, Risto.
Anyway, yeah,
cool. Well, thanks for having me on, Chris.
Yeah, any old time, pop in.
Yeah, I look forward to it. But yeah, I don't know. I just like my philosophy. I read this really good book called The 4 Agreements, and one of them is don't gossip. And that is like the absolute hardest agreement for me to like do. And so that's why I'm not gonna talk trash instead of like, I just want to like praise Harris and praise, Tim instead of talking. But like, again, gossip is like, because like the 4 agreements, it's like, do your best. Of course I can't, it's late. I usually go to bed at 10:30, but do your best. Don't assume anything. Don't gossip. And don't take anything personal.
Well, I mean, I do think that ticket did eliminate a few things that had been problems for years that they don't have the problem with, like in the sense of, like for years people would talk about SA, like sexual assault stuff, and there was always like, you guys, there's nobody who's got like clean accusations of that stuff here, and there's weird sexual stuff in that stuff, but nobody on that side has any sort of past history of assault. No, there's no Bill Clinton there. There's no Joe Biden there. And so they actually really do in an area have a high ground if it's like going off of gossip stuff. And there you can like, yeah, if people wanted to point to Ukraine and Biden, and people are always pointing fingers back and forth with who was doing fake money with foreign governments and all that sorts of stuff. There was always something there that was kind of like, no, but you, no, but you, no, but you. And that's a little bit eliminated with the Kamala Walsh ticket, because they're not necessarily from those worlds the same. And so there's a couple areas they automatically have removed themselves from the no but you of this certain thing, and they just automatically are a little bit better in that area because they don't have all that baggage. So just in general, I mean, I would just say, because one of the things about Kamala's website, she hasn't put up very much of her policies and stances, and we know that she's kind of backed off of some of them. I've listened to like Glenn Greenwald cover them and all that sorts of stuff. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like in general, that I get why some people do not some people. I mean, I totally make sense of it too. I just kind of generally don't like any politicians in that realm, and I don't have a problem of saying I don't like any politician on either side, and I just can't like hard to get behind like anybody. I would imagine I like the old saying of, you can't, anybody who should have that position is somebody who wouldn't put themselves up for that position.
And I agree with that. I agree with like, and I've kind of just shied away from like being evangelical about my political beliefs because for the past 20 years I've voted on initiatives, referendums, and amendments, and I just could not stand most politicians because it's like that classic bumper sticker, politicians in diapers should be changed every so often for the exact same reason. You know, like it just I've just gotten to the point where I have to suffer fools all day that worship Trump and you're just like, dude, like what would this guy just like people in my personal life, and it's just like what would this guy have to do for you not to like him? Like what would he just gets on TV, like today he was at Mar-a-Lago and just lying through his teeth, and they really the news stations just need to have like a fact check of every single lie that he says because it's not true. Like he's just making up. It's like the Joseph Smith thing. Like you don't need to make up stuff. Like why do you have to lie constantly? Why can't you just be honest?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, with Trump, you can see, and some people made the argument that he kind of lies like a car salesman, whereas the other side will lie about him like he's like lying in court about some sort of criminal thing about him or something like that. But I think lies are just. I mean, we've all learned since forever that lies are just real in the politician world. But the strange thing about it is, maybe I kind of like bought into 10 years ago that I thought the left was more the adults in the room, and that just got like squashed for me because I don't think they were. I think they acted like children, and it was just triply upsetting because it seemed completely there to do. Like you could just do that. You could just do that, and you would probably win. You would probably destroy them if you just really were actually the adults in the room, and they just never were.
Well, I've been disappointed. I've been disappointed in the left since Al Gore and Ralph Nader. Like I've just been disappointed. I've been disappointed in politicians for over 20 years. You know, like when I first registered to vote, I was just like, am I gonna remember John? Like I had a friend that campaigned for John Edwards, and he turned out to be a total slime ball who was like cheating on his wife while she had cancer. You know, and she would it broke her heart that she spent her time, her money, working for this guy who ended up being absolute slime. And so but if you go back, I had recently for me, I think it just comes to a breaking point where Trump broke people. It broke it broke me to the point where I'm like, you know what? Screw this guy. I'm voting Harris. And again, but because personality should matter, and I don't like his policies. Like Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, they voted with Trump 95% of the time on policies.
Personality wise, I like Trump better than I like Mitt Romney. I do not like Mitt Romney. I mean, that kind of goes back to the Machiavellian thing that I was telling you about, in the sense of I think a grandiose narcissist is better than a Machiavellian. I think somebody who lies and tells you they're lying is somebody who lies with a smile and tricks you in that sort of way, and just kind of and I do think Mitt Romney is completely on the side of that sort of stuff. But there's another level of it that I actually don't think that these politicians are the ones running anything, and I think the Democratic side is a little bit more just in line with what you would call the alphabet agencies, and I think the alphabet agencies run more of our life than any of us really know, and then who even pays and funds that to do anything. And
Chris, not to cut you off, but I'm with you on that, and that's I don't know if Cedar Stone is still listening and is in the chat, but I would love to talk to Cedar Stone one-on-one just about AI, just a one-on-one conversation of two dudes talking about artificial intelligence, because we could do a whole episode on artificial intelligence, and then I would become very verbose about my fears of AI, and it's what did you say, the Alphabet Society or whatever that runs
the alphabet agencies,
and there's no doubt. And the thing is, I'm with you, Chris, Republican, Democrat, deep state, deeper state, whatever you want to call it, it's real. And like it is a real thing. And that's what I love about this show is that we can just I love making my fake like sponsorships. I'm like, tonight is brought to you by Zevia Passion Fruit Tea. It's gluten-free, dairy-free, and has 0 grams of sugar. Like, all true, but like, I mean, come on, I'm joking, right? Like, I mean, root beer float ice cream. Like, it's a joke. But it does taste delicious, and I am diabetic for a reason. But but I understand, like, Flip's issue with Sear Stone. But hey, Sear Stone, if you're out there, DM me. But yeah, like politics, I've always just like, it's always made my stomach turn. I've never really liked it. I vote, and I've never really campaigned for anyone. But after like listening to Tim Wall's speech, where he said, what was one of my favorite takeaways? It was stop playing dumb. That's a good one for Trump. You weird as hell creeps, mind your own damn business. I mean, those were great talking points from like a dude who used to coach football, and like, I played football. It's fun. And like, I wish my high school football coach would have run for vice president, like, or governor or whatever, like, because I learned so much from him. Like, the things that my high school football coach taught me.
Eric, there's like a little bit of a level here that like you take these guys more genuine than I can ever take them.
No, and like don't get me wrong. I still like the facade. I can still like see through the facade, right? But like my high school football coach, he told me scan, see the big picture, see the field, don't have tunnel vision, and I use that every day in my life. Like, take a step back, and I put this in the comments. Take a step back and look at the big picture. And I think, and you do this very well, Chris. Like, and this is something I admire about you, is that you can take a step back and you can look at the big picture and you can see, like, it's the man behind the curtain, right? It's Wizard of Oz or Wicked, like, it's I can go on all night. Like, we can be up till midnight, and that's fine. But like, and like, it just, I don't want to talk trash on. Go ahead.
So, do you know what Trump or JD Vance like have said in their speeches? I find really inspiring.
What's that?
Not a thing. Like, I haven't listened to him. I don't listen to him, and I also kind of don't listen to Harris or them, because I don't think a politician's ever going to say anything worth listening to at that level. It's just all, signaling and whatever. It's
all. If you've ever seen the movie Chicago, it's all one big razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned from the movie Chicago. Besides, Catherine Zeta-Jones and being super duper hot. I
don't. Any of the four that are up there, I don't think any one of them could. I bet you maybe they could in their private lives, but something that will ever be put out to the thing, I don't think any of them will ever say anything that would make me stop and go, that was an interesting and take, and something I'm going to think about and take.
Okay, so that brings me back to Bill Maher, because Bill Maher, his show Real Time is for a general audience, right? His book, he says, this is for my fans, and this is for people who've been supporting me all these years and that believe in me, and friends don't bullshit each other. And he's more like Real Time, like, it's for a general audience, and that's the way Harris and Walls are speaking. They're speaking to a general audience, and Walls, he's just straight up told everyone what he believes in, in a 12-minute speech instead of like going on for 3 hours. Like, that's a good thing. And like, you can look up what his policies are. You can look up what he actually believes in. And he's not going to go on for 90 minutes like Trump about blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'm progressive,
Yeah. I don't know. I think Trump, when he goes off on those speeches, is ultimately kind of doing stand-up comedy with a couple build the walls in there type stuff. And then all the rest of it,
So Flip pointed out, this is the paradox with you, Eric. You cop it all to being corrupt and paradoxical, razzle dazzle, but you keep playing along. I keep playing it along because I want to promote someone who I don't agree 100% ideology with Harris and Walz, but their policies are important, and their policies are very important to like my self-interest and the country's self-interest. Like Trump says a lot of weird stuff, and he says some of the things Trump says are downright terrifying.
So wait, do you believe that we really, truly in our hearts, really, truly see giant douche and turd sandwich? Like we 100% like there's not one or the other that we go, yeah, but this one, the only reason I might tend to lean more towards the Trump side is because I think the great big giant mega machine hates him, and the more that they hate him, I kind of go, well, okay, well maybe he's doing something like that, and that's literally it, because nothing else about it. I'm like, boy, oh boy, that sure speaks to me. It's just
he's very anti-establishment.
Yeah,
the establishment does not like Donald Trump one bit.
And but that's like, I mean, that's like literally the only thing that kind of like leans me that way. And I hear other people say, but I hear people say that I don't like the Democrat Party and the left and all that sort of stuff, but the other side, literally fascist Hitler coming in or some stuff. But I just cannot look at it. I mean, to me, it looks the exact same as Mormon and Scientologists both screaming at me to kind of like see the truth a little bit, or and you go, one of you is Scientology and one of you is, FLDS or something like that, and where do I pick mine and choose? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess whoever's trying to screw with me less in any current moment.
Right. Yeah. Well, what's nice about being an American is that you can be agnostic, and you don't have to pick any of that. You can just say, I don't know what happens when we die. I don't think anyone does. And that's the way I feel about it. I did join the Church of the Latter-day Dude. My congregation is my bowling league. I'm proud of this fact. But like in my heart of hearts, I'm agnostic.
Yeah.
And politically, I've just like, I kind of just shied away from it. Like, in my line of work, we take money from everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, we're going to take your money. And what really grinds my gears is that I'm not a bigot. I could care less how you vote. I just wish other people have that feeling too. And there's
I agree with that, but I think I've gotten that more than one side than the other in the last several years. I know that some of the right will be like, oh, you're a libtard or something like that. I have not thought ill of any sort of person who votes Democrat or thought anything about them that makes them some bad or broken person. My parents vote Democrat for sure, 100%, and I think they're the best people around. Yeah. And but I mean, I saw a lot of it kind of going the other way of saying like voting for Trump means you're an uber super whatever bigot and some sorts of stuff like that. And I just could not get past the thing of like Hillary, you don't get this. Just saying I don't like Hillary, that makes this guy super uber bigot. Like, come on. Like,
I haven't liked Hillary Clinton since 2003 either. Like, I literally was that guy in the streets saying the illegal invasion and occupation of Iraq is a really bad idea, everyone.
Yeah,
and then guess what happened?
I had Bush-Cheney derangement syndrome a little bit. I think probably even too far, but I had it. Like, I hated those guys. I hated them, and kind of anybody who played along with that whole thing. But on the other end of it, I don't know what any of it is. I don't care what people vote or the other. And like I said, I appreciate the messaging of weird over the messaging of you're a crazy psycho bigot for you know what I mean? Like, I really do. I think like that's a good turn back to the I don't know, the stakes. It lowers the stakes of like how much you demonize the other people. Weird.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna like promote Tim Walz some more. Like, he made school lunch free. And like I grew up and I love my mom and dad, and I'd forgive them for what, going to bed hungry some nights, but I did. I went to bed hungry, and it was a hard thing to do, and it wasn't fun. And I remember, like I love school lunch, and like it was like growing up, we got pizza twice a year, and my parents did the best they could, and they did what they felt was right, and I love them. And I lost my dad in February, and I miss sharing my life with him. And before he passed away, I took him to a Real game, and we were just talking trash. And I said, "Well, are you happy?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, that's all that matters." And I'm kind of the opposite, where my parents are both Republican and voted Republican and loved, being conservative and pro-life and all that. But I forget where I'm going on. Like, it's late for me, but like Tim Walz, like that speech was like, he said he said exactly what I wanted to hear, and that was mind your own damn business. And I think we need more of that in our country.
I agree that we need more of that. I don't agree that Dems are so great at doing that, but
yeah, that's
there's but if they can get there or move towards it, I mean, that's just kind of like one of the points. They say we were talking about the abortion with the person who Jared and Flip were arguing at the beginning. Maven, they go back and forth with her a whole lot. Any sort of subject. This is kind of one of Robert Conquest's rules. He's a political theorist, and he says everybody's conservative about what they know best. And if you talk to her, she's a basic damn libertarian about abortion. Like, why does she go all of a sudden full libertarian about abortion? Like, government got to get out of this. Can't have government in the middle of any sort of this sort of thing. And there's generally kind of like a rule for that of like, stop messing with or changing by force the thing that is precious to me or something like that. Like, get out of my life about it. And libertarians, as we lean libertarian, but we also kind of we've dunked on some libertarian ideas as much as anything. And that's why it just feels weird to be like as homeless as that, because you kind of don't know what exactly to kind of run with or go with, because you can't stand on anything. And then all of a sudden you know that just because you're lukewarm, we'll go back to the Bible. Lukewarm, Christ spits you out. You know what I mean? When we're just lukewarm on everything. And but I do think that we agree with the thing of leave us alone. And the old Ronald Reagan saying of there's nothing scarier than the government, than the saying we're with the government and we're here to help. And yeah, there's other stuff where we believe we need safety nets, you need cops. We can't be like pure anarchists, and that goes the other direction. And so the answer is like, we don't have answers for any of this stuff, and nobody should listen to us anyway, because all we have is shit talk. But I don't know. I think it's endearing that you have a positive view towards something, because it's all black pills all the way down with me.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much negativity in this world, and like, and I fell for it too. And in the 90s, we listened to like Rage Against the Machine, and I was like, well, okay, I don't know what he's talking about, but I really like these guitar riffs, And then but there was just all this negativity. Like 90s music had so much anger, like Tool and like whatnot. But and then something happened to me last summer, and it kind of last August, my dad was in the hospital, and he told me he was having heart failure. And I kind of had that eye-opening experience where I just want to have fun with my dad. I want to share my life with my dad, and I want to just hang out and get to know him better. And what was really fun is that the last few months I had with my dad, he was a lot more honest. They say the filter goes. And so he was telling me pioneer stories that I've never heard before. He was telling me family history I've never heard before. And we would when we'd laugh, and I go over and visit him, and I'd be like, oh, what'd you do for fun today? And he's like, I stared at the clock. And I'm like, oh, come on, what'd you actually do? And he's like, oh, I just looked out the backyard and saw some squirrels playing. And I was like, well, you watch any, you read the newspaper, things like that. And then we talk politics and whatnot and current events. And you know, I don't know. I mean, it kind of just I wouldn't say I've always been a negative person, but like I kind of fell for that negativity that's in the media, and that like I mean, you watch Jimmy Kimmel and like, okay, this is what I want to talk. Searstone, I really hope you just like please watch this. But like, Chris, what is your opinion of Jimmy Kimmel using deepfakes of Donald Trump?
I mean, the AI stuff is getting spooky, and it's real spooky. I was actually talking to these guys about it earlier. I think if people kind of announce like a little bit like the Twitter rules, like if you say that hey, this is obviously we're doing a parody, making a joke of this thing here, it's all right. If they're not, it's going to be a problem for everybody real soon.
Yeah. I mean, like The Onion is hilarious. Like, I mean, before it got bought by Telemundo, like I remember like being in San Francisco where The Onion actually has like actual newspapers. And I was in San Francisco and I bought a copy of The Onion, and my friend and I were reading it, and we were 19 and we were laughing so hard, you know, like, and that was like
The Onion used to kill me. It used to be so
Onion,
good.
yeah, The Onion was so funny. And they used to have a podcast like with video, and they were like their podcast was like it was just like them and all these like up and coming comedians trying to make it in Hollywood, and they would do like these really funny fake news stories. Like
I love them. Like the Onion of 10, 12, 13 years ago, they're still funny as crap.
Yeah, the one about like the new Star Trek movie being fun and entertaining and pissing off the true Star Trek fans who wanted long, boring dialogue about intergalactic peace.
Well, we talk about Troy and Jonathan talk about free will. They have a podcast where they've just recently gone over that. And one of my favorite onions ever is one of the coin toss between the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hold on, maybe I'll pull it up. I think it's just one of the funniest freaking things I've ever seen. Here, I'll watch. I mean, how old is this? This is 15 years old. Holy crap! And it's still hilarious. But this is one of my favorites.
Back to the big NFL story of the day. The Jacksonville Jaguars forfeited their game against the Tennessee Titans today after the pregame coin toss caused the Jags to realize the randomness of life and the triviality of their own existence. Joining us now is Senior Onion News Network sports analyst Reggie Greengrass. Reggie, you were right there on the sidelines today. What happened from your perspective?
Well, Michael, it started when the referee told Jaguars co-captain Fred Taylor to call the coin toss to start the game. As the coin was in the air, Taylor was apparently struck with an existential epiphany and asked the ref, quote, "What meaning can life have if the future can be dictated by the random chance of this coin? Existence is a vulgar absurdity."
You can't wise off to a ref like that, especially at the start of the game.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Michael, Coach Del Rio chewed Taylor out, telling him to quit pondering the inconsequence of being in a universe governed by chaos and just play some football.
Well, Del Rio's known to have a real short fuse. I wouldn't mess with him.
He was mad as hell, Michael, but Taylor just took it. Finally, he asked Coach Del Rio, if a coin flip decides our kickoff, and a kickoff decides the outcome of this game, and the sum of all the outcomes of our games is equal to the sum consequence of your life as a coach, then is not your life no more consequential than the fluttering of a tiny metal disc?
Postulating the triviality of Coach Del Rio's existence, and what does Taylor want to ride the bench all year?
Believe it or not, Michael, Del Rio really took what Taylor said to heart. He called the rest of the team over and told them, quote, "Go out there, give whatever percentage you want. It does not matter. We are but blades of grass tossed to an uncaring wind. All effort is vain, all order an illusion."
So a complete loss of team cohesion.
Michael,
the first game of the year.
It was out of control. The Jags started smacking themselves in the face with playbooks in hopes that the sting of pain would bring them into consciousness of the present moment and shouting imponderable riddles to the fans.
Those fans must have been furious.
Well, they were upset. No one likes to be told they're just specks of dust floating through the universe without purpose.
Right.
One of the things that melted my mind about this stuff was like how those actors kept the straight faces of that stuff. Man. Like
Gene Wilder could do it too, like in Leslie Nielsen. Like, but like, what I love about what you just showed me is okay. So like, Hand Over Heart, my favorite movie of all time is I Heart Huckabees.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy about existentialism. Like it, dude. That just brought back like everything
exactly
I love
that.
about I Heart Huckabees.
It's exactly that. Yeah, and I do love that movie for that same exact reason. I Heart Huckabees is almost perfect. I only ever had one complaint about it, which is a complaint I bring up on here all the time, and that complaint was that what's his name? Jude Law trying to do an American accent. They should have just left him as an English accent.
He's like, geckos. I'll flips back on.
Yeah. I see he has a little bit more to say, but I'll let you finish it out, Flip, and then
all right, wrap it up.
I think you guys are wrapping. No, I just hopped back on because I could. Are you guys wrapping up?
I usually go to bed at 10:30, but I've been ever since I got my puppy. I've been taking her out till later, past 10:30. Yeah, I went to a concert last night and I got home about midnight. 11:30 midnight. So I should probably go to bed and catch up on the sleep that I had. But Flip, you got any final thoughts for us?
I don't know. Just all the usual stuff.
Yeah,
it's all.
Go ahead.
So what is our actual politics? Like we gotta posit a positive politics, because I ultimately will say it's just South Parkian, and it kind of just feels South Parkian, which is just shit on everything.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that thing's like that kind of Adam Carolla thing. Like, I mean, like,
well, it's easier to destroy than to burn or to create. Like, you know, it's easy to like talk trash and point the finger, but remember when you point the finger, you have 3 more pointing back at you. And you know, like it's just,
yeah, but I mean, like
I put this in like one of the comments before you even know who I was that it's easy to be obsessed with celebrities and the news and current events, and like that's the easy part, right? Like the hard part is like creating something beautiful. Like, you know how hard it is for me to convince people that we need a bullet train to Vegas?
Do we?
I would, if there was actually one there, I would like it, but I would just use it to play poker. I don't know how valuable that is to society.
Yeah, like I mean, getting a bullet train to Wendover is never going to happen because Wendover's Wendover, right? But like, I have an electric car that gets a 385-mile range, so my wife and I can go to Wendover, play some sports bets, and play Texas Hold'em and throw some dice and play craps while we win lots of money on UFC fights.
Damn it, I lost my train of thought because you were saying about okay, because that thing is like, oh, it's easy to point and say, oh, destroy.
I mean, I know what I technically am. I'm technically a classical liberal, which is that it's close to libertarian, but it's not full like anarchism. I believe there's got to be some government in there.
Yeah.
And,
no, like that's like, I mean, when people say it's like, I'm a libertarian in that I like, because that's things like the stereotype of libertarian is I believe there should be no regulation. Like, no, I'm libertarian in that I believe that we should be biased toward the least amount of regulation we can tolerate, right? Yeah, like that's my thing. Like that's how I'm a libertarian.
And Leviathan always swims left, so you got to tug of war that way, because no matter what, state will start to form, laws will start to form, bureaucracy will start to form, and so you just got to tug the other way on it.
But yeah, the other thing is like when you say like, oh, like it's easy to destroy, it's easy to point, but when you point, whatever, when you point, there's 3 fingers pointed back at you. Like this is all true. This is valid. These are valid ways in which people get totally fucked up, right? But then on the other hand, again, just to go Godwin, I'm just guessing that there was somebody in like 1940 Germany going, we should not kill the Jews. And then somebody went, there are 3 fingers pointing back at you.
Oh, shut up. Shut the front door. Like, there was that one dude who set that building on fire. Like, remember that? You know that story in Nazi Germany?
You're talking about the Reichstag. No, well, that's
yeah. Like, he was just like,
no, but I mean, my point is, like, there are some times that, like, no, you get to just wag the feet and say, like, no, that's fucked up. Like, like talking about like the Mavens of the world, like when she says that anybody who is pro-life, secretly, not even secretly, but actually just really hates women and doesn't care about the suffering. Like, no, it's okay to shake my finger at them and say, no, you're wrong, and you need to stop saying that shit. That's not helping anything.
Right. Well, I don't know much about Maven. But I from what as of tonight, from just watching tonight's episode and listening while I was walking my dogs, like anyone that speaks in absolutes is a liar.
Yeah.
Like if you speak 100%, this is the absolute, like you're a rapist or whatever, like, or like, and like Flip, like I've known you a long time. You're not a misogynist. And she was like, you're a misogynist, and it's like, Flip, you've got your flaws and you've got your demons, and I like to point those out, and you are still my friend for some reason, but Like, but you get it. Like, you understand. Like, you know.
Yeah, no,
and,
like, I'm not a
but-
homophobe. I'm not a
Of course
transphobe.
not.
I'm not
Like,
any of this shit.
No, of course, and it's easy to like categorize people, right? It's easy to put a label on something, and like
It's not just easy, because like if your worldview requires it, then it's a necessity. That's what's going on with Maven.
And I understand that you're a complex person. I'm a complex person. Chris is a complex person, and I'm not gonna like I can't like my final thought is like I never joined the Democratic Party. I never joined the Republican Party. I've been a registered independent, unaffiliated for over 20 years. I just got to that point where I was just like walking out my front door and I didn't like what I saw. And, like Risto made some great points, and but like the pandemic even broke me. Like I have things that like I swore I would never do. I did during the pandemic.
Like what?
And I hung out with coworkers. And 19 years ago, I said I would never date a coworker and I would never hang out with a coworker outside of work. But during the pandemic, my wife working for a hospital, me working for public transit, no one wanted to hang out with us. So I had two coworkers over to play Mario Kart Live, the home circuit in my garage while we were flipping our house. Like we were remodeling our house. We were remodeling our house, and I was just like so sick of I was so sick of doing drywall that I'm just like I learned a lot during the pandemic, and I learned that I really don't like doing drywall. And but I had a couple of coworkers come over and we played Mario Kart in the garage, and I kind of realized that like I kind of missed out on a lot of opportunities in life by not hanging out with coworkers outside of work.
You kind of just let something slip there too, though.
What's that?
Because part of the reason why you vote Democrat is because the more illegal immigrants there are, the cheaper it is to get drywall done.
Dude, where did you get that
from? You fucking know what I'm talking about. You just go down to Home Depot,
get mucho trabajo, poquito dinero,
and you can get that drywall done for cheap.
Well, my father-in-law did it with the help of some family members.
Oh, you're a sucker, man. You could have paid a bracero $15 an hour. You would have had it done. No problem.
So, like, the Libertarian Party almost had Michael Rechtenwald, although they trumped him out for a more leftist, a libertarian. And if they had gotten Michael Rechtenwald, it would have been the first person in a while I would have genuinely voted for. But no, it didn't happen. So I don't know. I've never in my life felt like, boy, oh boy, gonna vote for this guy. Yippity, yippity.
Yeah, no, it wasn't until Pete Buttigieg that I actually campaigned for someone.
It was 2004. 2004 was the last time that it was the first and last time that I voted the lesser of two evils. And I've regretted it ever since. And that really was the one and only time that because I remember at the time, it was Clayton, frankly, who talked me into it. He was like, no, you gotta vote for the best guy you can. And I'm like, it just sounds wrong to me, but I did it. I'm like, okay, I did it. And then I regretted it ever since. And so I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah,
simple. I'm only going to vote for people who I can actually get behind.
There were plenty of ballots there was plenty of ballots that I just left blank, and I would just vote on initiatives, referendums, things like policy that I actually had a voice in. But I would just leave if I didn't like the Democrat, I'd vote Libertarian or Green Party or leave it blank.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's not like I have a good answer.
I think more than likely I'm just going to intentionally flake this one out. More than likely.
But yeah, generally, I vote in referenda that I care about.
Yeah,
that's the thing I absolutely vote for. Because I vote in referenda. Because that's things I was shitting on you, not shitting on you, but I don't know what the word is. But earlier, because a lot of times when I try to pin you down on political stuff, you say it doesn't matter. I'm in Utah. Yeah, I know, but get around it. But that's the other thing. I get it that my vote doesn't matter because of fucking party shit. Which is why referenda is one of the only things I care about. Because referenda is every vote counts the same, no matter what, and I like that part about it. In fact, if they,
all right, well,
Are
I'm
we
gonna
good?
go to bed. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. I think we did a good job.
Yeah, I think we 3 hours and 43 minutes.
Two weeks in a row, you got to put out a pumping for Kamala and Waltz, which officially makes it the most political activism that has been done on this channel for any candidates ever.
That's true.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Sears Stone is going.
Hopefully, we don't lose any of our 328 subscribers.
Oh,
you've turned them over, man. I mean, we might
200
single-handedly turn
200
Utah
of them.
purple.
200
We're
of them.
purpling Utah on accident, man.
No, I will say if you live in Murray, vote Stephanie Pitcher. That's who's important to me.
Who's that? What's she got running for? I grew up in Murray.
You grew up in Murray, yeah. Because honestly, I'm gonna go to Nevada to campaign for Harris.
But who's Pitcher? Like, is she mayor? Like, what's she running for?
Well, she's not running. She already won. I think
Stephanie
in
Pitcher's
our
an American
primary.
politician and
I think our primary, I had one thing to vote on as unaffiliated, and that was city council or county council, and both Democrats were great. I thought, and I forget her name. She's wonderful, but she won. She's from South Salt Lake, and she's a county city council. I am so embarrassed that I forgot her name.
Last person I remember, like Mayor Snar. Like, I grew up with Mayor Snar's
mustache. I saw him at Piper Down one night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his mustache showed up 5 minutes before he did.
His son, I was on the football team with him. His son, the person who was the bad guy in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Stephanie Pitcher has won the Utah State Women's Chess Championship 8 times.
Whoa, flip!
Yeah, look at that.
That's pretty cool. But other than that, she went to Utah State Law School, and as far as I can tell from this, she's just a bog standard lefty. I can't really get anything out of this. But chess is cool.
Yeah, chess is cool.
And she donated the living hell out to Black Lives Matter right up until Black Lives Matter said no to Kamala.
Has she either tacitly or explicitly endorsed the same sexist and racist conspiracy theory that the entire Democratic National Convention has endorsed for the last decade or so?
I have no idea.
Oh, you do too.
According to your standards, or according to
reality?
What's
reality?
Let's say, what's the bare minimum the Democrats could do to make us halfway say, okay, maybe there's a possibility. I
can tell you. I mean, because it's the pendulum swings one way and the pendulum swings another way. And Flip and I, we had talked for a long time because he texted me that Disney gang raped
the Mandalorian
season 2. I have the text message.
The DEI stuff.
Sure,
and I've quoted academic agent and some other guys on here who says that they are going to put the woke away, and I don't think they can put the woke away.
Yeah.
And the woke, and here's the thing: is the pendulum swings one way, the pendulum swings another way. I'm more conservative now than I've ever been in my entire life, because it's the far right, the far right and the far left have gone so cringe with their fringe, and they get all the attention, right? Whether it's AOC or Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, AOC or MTG, they're getting all the attention, right? And I don't know how to put this, but they're not really all that influential, other than we give them all the attention because of all the wild and wacky stuff they say, right?
Because
I would say I'm more to the middle than I've ever been before on a lot of issues.
No, part of it is more official than that. They're not getting that because of the wild and wacky stuff they say. AOC got pushed by the entire left-wing media establishment, and they cover for her and they protect her. And when she says extremely stupid, factually wrong things, they cover for her and all that shit, which the right does for Marjorie Taylor Greene. But it's not just because they say wacky stuff. No, they're being pushed for a reason. AOC was pushed on us. She didn't pop out of nowhere. We were told about her.
We were Netflixed about her.
We were Netflixed about her.
We were definitely Netflixed about her.
Right?
Yeah, but how much?
It's not oh, here's this crazy thing. Let's look at this. No, they said, here it is. Look at it. We're taking this seriously. And I appreciate hearing you say that, just because there's that's one of those things that just pisses me off, is that I'm old enough to remember Sarah Palin, and the whole left going like, "Come on, she's an
see Russia
idiot.
from my house."
She's a fucking idiot. Why can't you guys just fucking cop to it? She's a fucking dope." And I'm like, "Yeah, she's dumb." And then AOC comes along, and I'm like, "She's a dope." And everybody's like, "Why are you talking? You're a misogynist. You just hate brown girls. She's actually really smart. She got a college degree. She's super smart. She got elected to Senate." Like all this shit. It's like, no, she's a fucking dolt. So anyway, I appreciate you.
All right. Well, that is a great final thought, Flip, to wrap up tonight's podcast.
No, look, she's okay. Oh, but by the way, on that same point, can we agree? Kamala Harris is a stupid person. She is obviously stupid. She's an idiot. She is not a smart person.
She is super duper smart. You can't, I respectfully agree to disagree.
Ukraine is a country, and it's next to Russia, and Russia is the bigger country.
And it's all one big razzle dazzle.
Yeah, no, the razzle dazzle is that
it's the reason I don't watch. It's the only. It's what you're saying is the reason. What you're saying is the reason why I only watch rated R movies and HBO, and because I can't stand watching PG and PG-13 movies that are made for a general audience that are dumbed down. And I do don't get me wrong, James Bond movies are my guilty pleasure. I'm still gonna go see every single one at the IMAX. I think Idris Elba would make an amazing James Bond. And I know you're gonna go DIE on me, but look,
Idris Elba. I mean, it'd be like a little bit goofy because it's not who James Bond is, but I like Idris Elba like a whole lot. But
he's brilliant.
The DEI stuff only matters when, like the same way the right's been explaining it to the Kamala and the Biden crowd, is it only matters when you guys say that's the reason, or when they say it's the reason they're doing it before they do it.
I know for a fact because my brother has been talking about it forever, but James Bond's nerds have been talking about Idris Elba for a long time, totally independent of woke shit, just because they see because just like every nerd was casting their version of Lord of the Rings, like every nerd is casting James Bond, and nerds just go, that guy fits, and has nothing to do with woke.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good night. Chris, wait, Chris, what's your final thought?
My final thought is I'd be fine with Idris Elba, and I would have been, Kamala Harris or even Ketanji Brown Jackson or whoever, every single one of those cases, all Biden or whoever had to do is not signal it beforehand saying that that's what they're doing, you know, and they just, you say, I'm choosing the best person for the job. Here's the person.
We need a black woman. Here's one. Oh, so you nominated a black woman? How dare you? The jest.
I did catch that. Yeah. All right. Good night, guys.
All right.
Bye.